No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world. And today, Weezy.
I'm so nervous.
Why?
Dude, I'll be honest with you. Out of even the Breakfast Club, I wasn't as nervous for as until right now.
Why?
'Cause
They'll
I
do
just-
you dirty. I'm not like that.
I kind of imagine you like an asshole.
No.
And even though like I've interviewed you and Lena and you were great, I was like, oh, but his girl was there. And there's just so many clips of you pissing people off.
You could be our third walkout.
Okay. I remember Black China in the bathroom, which was dirty, but I mean, it wasn't so bad. I huddled over, like I squatted. What was the first walkout?
Cuban doll.
Oh, see, as women, what the fuck did you do?
Women who appropriate Asian culture in their names. Oh, wait, that Cuban doll. Sorry. Okay. Other cultures in their names.
I didn't know you were that woke.
So you guys would edit that out. I'm going to just let it rock.
Oh, we don't edit.
Ever?
No.
Oh, okay.
No point.
Because when I was talking to Sophia from Call Her Daddy, she was saying that like they edit like crazy, and I'm like, why? Like, what are you editing out?
First of all, I love Sophia, but I think that some people assume that production requires editing, and I noticed I just did her show, and there was nothing crazy that I said or nothing she edited out, but I just noticed like a lot of pauses were taken out. And I think that some people feel like that adds to production, but I like quietness. I love when I hear someone ask a question and the other person's silent and you can let that moment sit. Because I'm not that person. I'm too fucking chatty.
Most of our podcasts have so much of us like shouting over each other that I can't imagine what the fuck an audio engineer would do to edit it.
Yo, Mandii and I, like, after almost 5 years, people still like, can you guys stop fucking talking over each other? But no, we can't.
That's like the biggest problem for people who are good at talking to each other to get past in order to like then be a podcaster, I think, is just that realization of like, oh, we can't all be talking at the same time.
Yeah. And I would say this other thing. People don't know what role they play. A, B, and C mics, right? Like a lot of people want to be the fucking A mic. And one thing her and I are starting to get better at is like there are certain episodes where she is and where I am. Where one may be dominating a conversation and we can learn because you can't both be like this. Great podcasts are when people know their place, and knowing your place doesn't necessarily mean you're taking a back end.
How often would you say that you are doing the podcast with her and you're trying to like get a sentence out and then she just comes in like, hey, like just sort of like stomping on your, as I feel like there's like different energy levels, and sometimes it's like, I feel you trying to get your point across and then she just is jumping in,
really
twerking, screaming, bitch. And I'm like, oh, like, I feel like I can almost kind of sense the tension when I listen to you guys at times.
Oh, we always have tension, but
Right.
That's what makes our show great. We don't fake the funk with anything. I don't think there's one podcast out here where they don't have problems, as we've seen, right? All these fucking breakups. Like, Mandii and I, when we were in therapy recently, we were talking about that. I was like, yo, the day that we end, I'm not going out like this Call Her Daddy shit, Joe Budden shit. I net frenemies, some other white podcast that's huge. Like,
Yeah.
I want us to end good and feel good about each other because, like, I hate that. Her and I get that. We do that back and forth because we're confident that we can move past it. But I think some people don't like to expose that part of their relationship because they feel like their fans may think less of them. But, like, fuck it. It is what it is.
Now it's like you're not a podcast. You're not a popular podcast unless you have some dramatic breakup where your breakup episode gets 5 times as many views. And
Can you imagine the fucking nerve of my last episode being the highest rated? Like, why wasn't I in the millions when we were, like, talking regular? So It's like, I don't know. But I think her and I are very honest in our dynamic. Some people may even say we're not bigger because of it. But I believe that is really what's kept us going. Like, I really do. I think people like that authenticity.
Interesting.
It's not phony.
But what would you describe as your major conflicts?
Mandii and I?
The key things that create tension between you guys.
First of all, we're both very alpha. And we miscommunicate so badly. Like, I'm being really bad. She thinks I'm being really mean or nasty to her. I think I take a lot of the things she says personal and emotional when she may be talking about business. Like, it's just constant miscommunication. And because we don't have a personal relationship, we're not like best buddy. I think that's what makes it harder. We're not really empathetic with each other.
Were you best buddies at one point?
Yeah, when we were younger, that's how we know each other.
Okay.
And then we kind of just jumped into a pod. Like, the basis of Horrible Decision was 2 corporate women talking about sex. And it ended up turning us into entrepreneurs because the show got so big and we ended up doing well with our money. But when that happened and money started growing, we realized our personalities weren't really meshed for a good business relationship, I think, or a good personal relationship. But I mean, we are really good at making money together. Like, I will say we joked about when the Call Her Daddy thing came out, and I was like, bitch, I don't give a fuck what happened. We can't never break up. How millions? Like, no, like we have to stick together. And I think money and what we're doing reminds us constantly that we have to stay on track and not let our egos get in the way. Not to say one has an ego larger than the other, but just pride maybe.
It's interesting because you guys are at least equally incentivized to do stuff. I would assume that you guys are like 50-50-ish on all this. But
We are.
that's where shit gets weird with like Joe and Rory and Mal and stuff, is that it's like you could be having personal issues and you can be having business issues. But if you're having them both at the same time, that seems like where they were at and why they couldn't get past it.
I think one thing with Mandii and I, we started our LLC so early on. Discussions of IP, partnership agreements, like even now, like now we have a full team, but in the beginning it was like, okay, I'm doing editing and Weezy has to upload on these days. Like we really treated it like a business before it was even making the money it is now. You know what I'm saying? And when you take it that serious, that's when shit can work. And I think the beauty of some of these podcasts is they're so organic that they're so much fun that you forget to ask about the money because it's flowing. And then when personal shit fucks up, and by the way, I'm not speaking about anyone, it's just a guess, right? Like maybe even Call Her Daddy shit, who knows? But I think when the personal shit gets fucked up, you're like, hold on, let's talk about this money.
Right.
Because whenever Mandii and I start arguing, we're like, let's look at the contract again. And we are able to get more clarity on it. But like we revisit our shit a lot and make sure that we have the correct amendments. And one thing I'm grateful for, as much as she could annoy me or I annoy her, like we don't fucking play about our shit.
Right.
You know, so I think it's what's kept us doing well.
It is kind of interesting because like I've known of you for a lot longer. I've known Mandii for quite a bit longer, but yeah, like even when we went on the podcast, it did kind of seem like it wasn't huge, but it was like you guys have been working at it for years and years. And like a lot of times you get so used to seeing people just work on a podcast for years and it never goes anywhere. But then over time, I see you guys like keep grinding. And then all of a sudden now it feels like the fucking opportunities are flowing on a totally different level because you guys managed to hold it together and keep it going despite the adversity, right?
Absolutely. And I think one thing that we've really done well on, for a long time, people have separated us so much when she started to do her own pod or we both started our own ventures. And this maybe I didn't even learn this until like this week. Mandii and I maybe couldn't do more together, so we made sure to use this brand to elevate the other things that we could do. And that I think is the beauty of it. Like Mandii having a fucking subscription box for vaginas. Why wouldn't you make something like that? You have a sex podcast, absolutely use that audience. Makes total sense.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like the podcast studio for me, like I love doing that. I think I'm really good at it. I love teaching people how to make pods. I love production. Like we both did what we were supposed to do, and Horrible Decisions is the core. So we've been able to leverage that one brand into multiple. And I think that that's one thing I really appreciate in having her as a podcast partner. She's not stupid. Like she knows what she's doing, and so do I.
Right. It's kind of hard for me to imagine like podcasting through the beef. Like you actually are mad as fuck at each other and you still have to sit down and do the podcast.
You gotta have a guest, dude.
Oh, you need a guest.
And then even when we have a guest, the guest be knowing.
Right.
Because Mandii will be like, welcome to Horrible Decisions. How are you, Michelle? And I'm like, yeah, Michelle. And the guest's like, fuck. Like, but now we're doing a lot better. I mean, we do therapy. We have discussions when we're like going through shit, and we're learning to kind of almost poke at it. Like I made a post the other day on our Patreon. I was like, yo, like we need time to reconnect and then we'll come back. But we're not about to put out shitty content because I know sometimes we do it and we're really trying not to. And people fucked with that. Like nobody was like, fuck these bitches. Like they're making too much money to act like this. Like they get it.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're fucking married, bro. We share a bank account.
Right.
It's not easy. And multiple streams of income, merch, touring, ads, our fucking audio IP, like all kinds of shit.
It's crazy though, because if you were in a marriage with a guy that you didn't want to be in, you would be like doing literally everything on earth to get out of it.
I don't want to not be in this with Mandii.
Right.
We don't always get along, but I know for a fucking fact what I'm doing with Mandii is very important. And even if sometimes I could let my own pride get to me and feel like I'm doing good at something or whatever, like people are not watching for Weezy and they're not watching for Mandii. We have a dynamic that's a thing. I'm 100.
He has like the Migos.
Yeah, man. Like,
But there's two.
Especially because it's just two, that's how I know. Like when one is sick or one's on vacation, like it's totally different.
Right.
I can't hold down horrible decisions without Mandii. I can be Weezy and do myself on another pod, but that brand, like, nah.
It's interesting though, because now you're getting all these other opportunities. You got this TV show. You're like, what are the other things that you've started recently that you have going besides Horrible Decisions, which, by the way, is like a sex-themed podcast with her and Mandii, the other girl we're talking about, just in case anybody has made it to this point and doesn't know who the fuck I'm talking to.
I mean, thank you. So Horrible Decisions, was my first pod venture. I started another one called For Fact's Sake, and then I ended up doing a TV show, Sex Sells, the entrepreneurs that make money from sex without having it. I actually wanted Lena on there, but she was pregnant at the time.
Didn't stop us from doing a whole lot of porno, but you know.
Well, it was hard because we were in LA and New York in COVID time, but I really wanted to talk about how you leverage like online platforms to making money and crowdfunding and even using a partner. Because if someone wants to call Lena a porn star, well, she's not really out there doing porn. She's technically making her own content. Like, that's real entrepreneurship. So I just wanted to highlight sex workers and their business acumen. But I just recently took a job with Kenya Barris. I'm his head of audio production. He just signed a huge Audible deal to produce a bunch of podcasts within the next few years. And I'm super grateful because he's huge. And like,
head of audio production, what does that entail?
Basically, anything that Kenya wants to bring to the table to Audible, like, would go through me, development, figuring out casting, what kind of shows we're going to be bringing on, making sure I'm the liaison between those things, building him a studio, even finding podcasters to work with. But I think the really cool thing about him choosing me is Kenya could have access to anybody. And I think to be humble enough to know, like, these fucking Hollywood TV producers don't know what a fucking podcast is. And when you pick someone that's been doing it for a minute that didn't have the blueprint, I think that was a smart move on his end that a lot of people don't do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, we've been podcasting for a minute. Like, you get how it works. And these people are getting so much fucking money for podcasts and they don't know how to make one.
Right.
So I think that's really it.
Yeah, that's one thing I was getting from listening to Horrible Decisions and hearing all these ads for all these other podcasts and just realizing, like, they're really throwing bags at anybody who's got like a name or like the ability to have a fucking poppin' podcast in general. Like, all these media companies are dying to get into this business now. It's
insane to me, like, how much money is being thrown at podcasting, but it's all about IP acquiring, like, I think, like, because even what I'm seeing, like, Kenya's super smart. And to know that you can keep branding, like, even Blackish to Grownish, and like, I've never seen him say one thing, one dimension. Like, if he's going to talk about a podcast, it's like, if that's a book, if that's a TV deal, if that's a movie deal, like, he knows. And people that their brain work like that, that's why you have to build a team. Like, I'm just audio production, right? There's someone over me, like, that's going to tell me, like, creatively if this can work. And I think that branching into podcasting for people, when they're spending that money, they want more. That's what I'm assuming. I can't see why you would spend millions and millions of dollars on a brand unless you want to acquire the rights to other shit. Right. Which is why all of that Spotify money that's being thrown around is so interesting to me, because they know if something grows, now they can make it a TV show. Now they can buy you out with this and that. Like, IP is it. And it's important to keep your own. Like, Mandii and I have ours. And, you know, your shit is indie, right?
Oh, yeah.
That shit is fucking important. Like, imagine how trash No Jumper would be if you eliminated 60% of your audience and just took it somewhere else.
Yeah, and the whole basis of this podcast, really, like, whenever they talk to me about TV shows or whatever, I'm like, you would never want to make a TV show about 90% of the people that I interview because they're not well known enough to be on actual TV. Or even, like, I just did a 2-hour interview with an underground sort of rapper who's actually kind of huge on the internet named Hobson. It's like, I would actually fucking flip out and lose my mind if I had to justify to someone why I wanted to interview him, because he doesn't have an album coming out.
Yeah.
He doesn't, you know, there's no like reason for me to want to interview him besides the fact that I think he's tight and we end up talking to each other every couple of years. And like, I don't know, I just couldn't imagine having to like have every piece of content be like consistent and big. Like, to me, it's like, no, like, I'm just doing what the shit that I think is cool here.
I really fuck with you on that, because when Horrible Decisions started, people would tell us how big the guests need to be.
Right.
And I'm like, bro, like, I don't give a fuck about an IG model. And I think Mandii and I maybe tried it once or twice, and they're whack-ass episodes. I want the fucking girl who's a receptionist that's been sucking dick in the bathroom at work to fucking come and tell her story. Because as long as you keep making good content, that's when shit gets better. Like, with Wayno's podcast, when we were starting it out, like, I remember people were like, oh, tell Wayno to have this guy and do this. And it's like, yo, like, Wayno's already a name. Like, just let him get his fucking flow and make people enjoy the show, and then the fucking guests will come.
Right.
Like, it just doesn't make sense to throw these big guests because you can't lean on them. They're not going to come back next week. People need to come back for you.
Yeah.
And if you can't figure out how to stand on your own 2 feet, that won't make sense. People like watching you interview people. I really believe that. I believe that about all of us that have been podcasting for a while. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, cool, Adam has this person on, but I'm going to still click on your shit.
And the crazy thing about it, too, though, is that this year I've interviewed huge rappers, like top tier rappers that are like extremely well known and got 300,000 views, 400,000 views. And then I've interviewed completely unknown people from Instagram or Twitch or whatever who I just think are funny, who are like a meme or just like some random thing, and got millions and millions of views off of people that are not even like really famous.
Because that's when you're thinking about your own content.
Yeah.
Like this TikTok era, dude, like, I don't want to fucking know where you went to high school. I can't believe people are interviewing TikTokers and like, I want to fucking throw up, dude. Like, you're lip syncing to music and doing this. It's so weird.
Right.
How like that's become a phenomenon, and suddenly like people are interviewing them. Like, no, like what happened to like people that are just interesting?
Right.
It fucking sucks.
Yeah.
But hopefully, like, this will weed out who are the better content creators in the end. You know what I mean?
I used to interview like any Instagram model that had like 1 million followers back in the day. I just like, it just seemed like it made sense.
To be fair,
I don't know if it did.
Your Instagram show shit has definitely been interesting. It's piqued my interest. And I actually am I don't like when women name drop, so I haven't liked that about your show. Because I think exposing people just isn't right. It's a consensual thing.
We had to really pull back on that, yeah.
Really?
Well, I mean, we had Selena doing a shitload of it, and it was basically the reason why we had to not do her show anymore. And then recently we ran into an issue where a girl on the show aired out Tristan Thompson, and then he broke up with his Kardashian girlfriend. I don't even know. And I'm sitting there on the podcast, and she's talking about fucking Tristan Thompson, and I'm drinking, which I never do. And in the cease and desist that I got from Tristan Thompson's fucking legal team, it like, I forget what it was, but there was some like funny way that they wrote it where like Mr. Graham Mason even acknowledges that he doesn't know what the fuck you're talking about or something, the way they said it, because I'm sitting there not like, I don't know, fucking Tristan.
How do you make sure that like you're doing your, like, do you say allegedly? Because you be letting these bitches come on and say that shit, dude.
Yeah, we pretty much just let them rock usually. I mean, like, you know, there's definitely times. Who did I have on the other day that was talking about fucking somebody famous? Oh, what's her name talking about fucking the fucking Hariyama girl was talking about fucking.
Why do you think they do it? And why do you think they do it here?
What the hell else are they doing?
Is it like, no, like for real? Like, is it OnlyFans? Like, what's the goal? Because to me, if I was like selling pussy, because I believe men like fucking girls that like other athletes and rappers fuck. So if like you're slanging pussy, it makes sense to be like, I fucked so-and-so, because you're like, oh wow.
Right.
I want to fuck the girl he fucks. But otherwise, I don't really understand.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me if you are thinking about the long term of your hoeing, but it would appear that a lot of girls aren't really super concerned. Like that fucking porn star girl who called out Lil Baby like the day after he went and smashed her. And she just like described it in such intense detail. And that was what was so fascinating.
Like erotica?
Kinda, yeah. And talking about like he just dicked me down and pushed my head into the bed and didn't say a word to me. I was reading that shit like, that dude is fucking awesome. This guy is the man. But also at the same time, I'm reading it like captivated, like, doesn't this girl know that it's literally her only job to not air out the rapper who just paid her for sex, who has a famous girlfriend?
With Selena, I did see her OnlyFans go up. So that makes sense to me because it's just like now people can't, like, we want more juice with that. So I get that.
But that was her mode of operation way before there was even any kind of financial incentive, because she was calling out Waka Flocka for whatever, cheating on his girl or whatever in 2015, 2016. She hit me up trying to fuck XXXTentacion at one point, and literally the only reason I said fuck you was because I was like, I saw you airing out Waka Flocka in the news like a couple months ago. Why would I try to line you up with my like dude who's barely legal?
She hit you up to like be the
trying to fuck with X. This is while he was still in jail, but
oh my god.
And that even then I was like, no, I'm not introducing you to him because I just saw you air out Walker.
You know who I really want you to interview?
Who?
Okay, these are like my all-time. This is my dream guest, but I feel like you could get him.
Okay.
Taz's Angels.
Ooh, okay.
I need them fucking back together, bro. When I lived in, when I was a Florida girl and like living that Miami life and lived, they were like the shit to me. I loved them. They're so fun. And I love that they like didn't give a fuck about talking about they pimp. To me, that shit is lit.
I think Britannia 187 was one of them at one point, right?
I think she just hung around them, but I know who you're talking about. And
right.
She was great. That like those are the girls that really walk so Selena could run. Okay.
Right.
And I really hated how people talked about that empty house, because when they got that big ass house and fucking the Kardashians were in there, they were lit as fuck at one point.
Right.
And they don't get enough credit for that.
But they were prostituting themselves and just talking about it.
I remember them talking about getting money for him, being a bottom bit, like verbiage that we know is basically it. I don't think they explicitly said that, but I would hope they would discuss it now. I mean, I had heard stories and I'm not sure if they're true, but I mean, the way that they moved, yeah, like I know like girls ran in through that. And also like he really took care of them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they lived well. They were, I was going to say they looked happy.
Well, there's a lot of girls prostituting themselves. We can't just assume that every pimp has them in this relationship that they don't want.
Every pimp is bad, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I've learned a lot about this. Like when I was growing up, I feel like we all heard the word, we think like your pimp's beating you and taking your cash.
Right.
But some pimps, so to speak, are keeping these girls safe in a way.
Right.
Whether they like, because let's not forget, some girls like selling pussy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know
Tons.
why everybody acts like this is the worst job in the world. I'm not saying it's my job, but I'm saying like I get how like bitches could like it. Like,
but you're talking about this show that you're working on or whatever. Your TV show, right, is like primarily about people who sell sex but not actually sell sex.
correct. So like dominatrixes, OnlyFans girls, feet models. I interview like sex toy companies. So I get waxed on the show. Like to me, like my waxing lady, she might be 60-year-old little Indian lady, but like you're doing vajacials, like you're selling sex. Like I'm only coming in here because I know I'm getting fucked. I'm not getting a vajacial for fun.
Vajacial.
Right?
I need to think about that word more soon.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, actually, it could be like if you got squirted on, maybe.
Yeah.
All right, no,
I'm
but
all-
it's
I'm all right.
basically like she exfoliates your pussy. But I do naked yoga, like shit like that. Like to me, all of these things are sex adjacent, and I think that like it's super interesting to see how these people really make a living off of it. But to me, I had whorephobia and that whole like, oh my God, I'm not a hoe, but I am. I had a sugar daddy, but I never sold pussy. Like so many women do that shit. And once I really started to be able to understand the acumen of these people, that's when I was like, I gotta make a show about this.
But was the network the ones who were like, yo, you're not allowed to actually interview anyone who's a straight up prostitute because that's illegal?
No,
that part
to
of
me,
it or no?
I feel like sex work that wouldn't make enough episodes. Like, I didn't even ask for that. I really wanted to talk about people that actually make money from it without fucking. And also, I don't want to get anyone arrested if that is what they're doing or put anybody in a position where they could have harm done. But these people are doing completely legal things. We go in a sex club, and to be totally honest, I didn't know that was legal. But it turns out a sex club in New York, it's just an event space where like-minded people are invited. You're not paying for sex. You're paying for a ticket to go to a space.
But you went to a lit one?
Yeah, in a sub
Like there was all kinds of crazy sex stuff going on all over the
It's
place?
like one of the most elite, like it's a high-class, high-end sex club.
Really?
Like he's got dancers, he's got things going on, performances, and I take one camera in there and they follow me through, and it's gorgeous. Like I get in bed with a couple and I ask what they're looking for there. Like I just wanted to show that these people are normal. You know what I'm saying? Like you guys had a fucking kid, now you're engaged. Like, but somehow like we see you guys fucking. Like
She just bought a different house just to film content and really.
damn,
but,
dude.
Yeah.
Maybe I should be selling my pussy.
I mean, probably if you started OnlyFans, I mean, I don't know how much money you're making from all these other things, and I assume it's pretty good, but I'm assuming also if you started OnlyFans, it would probably be like up there.
No.
No?
Nah, dude.
Nah, you got the IP.
Yeah, I feel like I'd take some like cute selfies, and after a while, I'd just be like,
Oh, yeah. You got to go hard.
yeah, you gotta go hard.
Which is the crazy thing because, you know, when you hear about like Ruby Rose started OnlyFans, Bella Thorne, Bad Baby, etc., I feel like there's never like a follow-up article about that is like, oh, they're not even showing a fucking nipple.
There's enough follow-up articles. I feel like we see enough shit. Like there's an OnlyFans doc on Hulu where like people are slamming them. Did you see that?
I haven't, and it's like, what is it in my brain that makes me not want to watch something that is probably more tailored to my interest than anything else that's on the service?
Because you really know what it is. You know the business, and you know it's probably washed for fucking TV.
But shouldn't I want to find out? I should watch it, but
you should watch it. But it is interesting because a lot of performers call out the Bella Thornes and the famous people making OnlyFans, which I gotta be real, I do think it's stupid. I also saw an article today that said OnlyFans may pull pornography just because they want to branch into something different.
You know, and then I'm searching
So
Twitter and I'm
stupid.
searching Google trying to find like a real source for that, and I'm not finding anything, which it does make no sense to me because, okay, why is it that when you go to the Twitter app, you can follow 5 million different porn accounts, and even me, I follow a handful of porn stars. I'm scrolling through my timeline, I see girls getting dick down, whatever. But then OnlyFans can't even have an app on the App Store because of the fact that there is nudity on there, but you have to pay for it. Like the OnlyFans app doesn't have any nudity unless you pay for it. And I don't really understand why Twitter's allowed to exist in the App Store and the OnlyFans
I think
app
his
isn't.
Twitter is just like maybe the photos, and we're not purchasing those photos. And I think the paying for the sex in a way like is really the issue with that.
Right.
But like for Patreon, Mandii and I are considered 18 plus because of the content.
And we're about to be too once we launch our Patreon. But that's another good example of why the fuck is
That's an app.
Patreon allowed to have an app
But
when there's all kinds of naked
I
shit.
will tell you this. Mandii started posting what she was calling porn sleepers. And we almost got removed from the site. We've had Patreon for almost 3 years.
Porn sleepers?
Yeah, just basically like how people drop their music or whatever. Like I guess she does that on her other pod where she'll like do a hot song of the week. She was doing porn she liked, and we almost got fucking deleted because
Just
of
for
it.
showing the porn
Showing
on?
a link. So I think the issue with OnlyFans is, and then maybe even wanting to separate, because even in the documentary, the OnlyFans CEO discusses it's a crowdfunding platform. It's crowdfunding, like.
Right.
It's pussy, bro.
I got on the phone with one of the high ups at OnlyFans. I'm not sure if it was the owner, and he was telling me, he's like, "Yeah, we'd love to put money into you starting something and help support it and everything." And I was like, "Yeah, I have this idea," and it was obviously something totally like sex based. And he's like, "We can't support anything that has any kind of sexual element." You know, like they want us to do like a Patreon style thing on OnlyFans. They do not want more porn. Like they'll let you do that. I think that if anything, OnlyFans just wants to get the app in the App Store, and they maybe if they kind of rebrand as not being so sex focused, then maybe they can get.
I think they just can't get capital or investors because look at Patreon, right? They've got mad investors that are giving people fucking equity and Bitcoin and all this shit, and OnlyFans really can't branch out and do that because people don't want to say they're probably investing in that. Those are sin stocks in essence, right? Like things that are tobacco, gambling, pornography. What's the word for guns that I'm looking for? Firearms, shit like that. Like those are stocks that like are really hard to go public. And I think with OnlyFans, it's probably really hard to find investors because the relation to sex.
It's hilarious if they ruin the whole app because there's just going to be OnlyFans.
I don't want to see your dog on OnlyFans, bro.
It works great, but it's not that hard to replicate. Like if OnlyFans does say like, "Oh, no more porn,"
But you know
you
what?
don't think there's a million other apps, or not even apps, but a million platforms that are ready to take your space?
I think OnlyFans is popular because we love the Instagram model. And if anyone has not supported OnlyFans, that's crazy to me. But OnlyFans feels like Instagram, but pussy. And then to know you can DM a performer and they can write you back is like really exciting. Like I'm fans of podcasters, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever. And if I knew I could write them and they had to write me back, or that I was supporting them personally, like we've had a long lasting Patreon because people loved knowing they were like helping Mandii and I get video off the ground back then. You know what I'm saying? Or paying for merch or being able to tour ourselves. I really believe people like knowing they're like helping these girls or male performers, whatever. And I think that to make it look like Instagram is much like we already do. The scrolling, the way you can like it, a comment, a message, the way it has a grid, like Patreon is not that. It looks like a blog post kind of thing. It's different.
I haven't spent enough time on Patreon, but yeah, that's interesting.
Because it's easy to use. OnlyFans
Yeah.
is so easy to use. Like my first time clicking on the app, I feel like I'd been in it already because it's the Instagram shit.
Yeah.
Like
They have
even
definitely-
Facebook is weird.
They figured out, Facebook, you can pay me to look at Facebook. It's just the most confusing blob of a website ever. I don't feel like anyone really understands what all these different things. And when you try to actually like dig into how to use Facebook to promote video and stuff, and like, oh, you can embed from one page to another. There are things that are so complicated about Facebook. And for some reason, I've just never been able to really get anything to go that crazy on Facebook. And even when
that's not your demographic.
But even when I do, even when I have videos get millions and millions of views, it doesn't feel like we get like a lot of followers.
Do you fucking hear this flat? Like, this is like really. I mean, we get millions and millions of views.
But
like,
I'm saying that we don't get like the followers that you would think would come with that. I don't know. Everything about Facebook has always felt fake as fuck to me.
There's no like direct line of traffic, and I give this advice to people like when doing consultations for pods all the time. So this is really my best free game. When you have someone on your podcast, right, and you're having a person that may not have a podcast demo, you probably won't get as many clicks as if you have like a rapper, right? Like if you interview me and people that listen to Horrible Decisions never heard of Adam and now they like you, they're gonna click, they're gonna stay because they already take a certain audio format or a certain YouTube format weekly. So and most people listen to 3 to 5 in rotation, right? No Jumper may not be the only one. They probably listen to other shit in your lane. And so when you have people that do the same kind of shit as you on, grows your audience. Happened to me and Sophia both directly, like when we linked with her in November. It was one of the first times I saw it happen like again. That same week, like instantaneously. Oh, I listened to Sophia with an F. I listened to Horrible Decisions. Now I listen to both of them because they're kind of alike. That's what people do. That's why having YouTubers and podcasters on can really help you instead of a fucking TikToker. Like I said, don't make sense. I want to look at that girl on TikTok. I'm not going to just start watching No Jumper on YouTube when I don't watch anything else on YouTube.
Well, it's funny when you see a girl go on a podcast who has like hella followers or whatever, and then you realize like, oh, nobody really wants to hear her talk. Like when you look at the views, you're like,
ruins it,
oh,
dude.
Damn, that's not what people are really tuning in for. Although I will say that for me, a lot of our biggest interviews have been like porn stars and just chicks who like realistically have tons of Instagram followers, but nobody ever really talked to them on camera, had a serious conversation with them.
A chance.
And then we did it, and then our fucking horny ass audience just eats it up.
You are known for the hoes, though.
Yeah, we got hoes.
Yeah.
On here, not me so much, but like on the.
Oh, not you so much. Birds of a feather, hun.
No, I got no hoes. I'm an engaged
No,
man.
I mean like as hoes. Like we are.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Like we're a tribe. I feel like.
But what's your audience? Like 90% female or no?
Nah, I think we're 70-30 now. But they all hoes though. Like even the
Right.
dude, like everyone that listens to a podcast, they're like either a secret hoe. Like when people come up to me and they're like quiet about it, I'm like, "What, do you have a regular job?" Like,
Right.
because the ho-hos, they be bartenders and shit. Like, yo, I love that shit. Now I be pegging my boyfriend.
Oh no.
And then there's like someone that comes up to me that's like a paralegal that like, I've been listening for 3 years. I'm so proud of your journey.
Really?
It's cute.
And she probably also pegs her man now.
Dude, we all have it in us. It's just some people can be outward about their shit, and some people like look at your face, look at your tats. You're never getting a regular job again. Might as well put your dick
I'm never
in your
getting
girlfriend.
pegged either. Fucking my girl. One night we were drunk as hell, tried to like slip a finger near there, and I was the way I reacted. She never tried again.
Oh, it's in your head. Maybe when you get older, you'll be okay.
How much older am I really gonna get?
I don't know, but you also be around like a lot of rapper niggas and shit. I feel like it could probably get in your head. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Just the needing to be masculine constantly.
You know, I was thinking about that about myself. Is that when I'm around my rap friends and stuff, or anyone who listens to the No Jumper show or whatever, I'm the gayest one. Always.
Why are you the gayest?
Because I just will say the most sus things. I say the most gay.
Oh, literally gay.
You know,
I'm like,
I
you're
just
not
say
even trying
super
to be
gay things, and nobody thinks I'm actually gay. But like my friends will like get up and walk away from the table because they'll be so
Dude, honestly though,
flabbergasted.
that's white boy shit.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like white boys love sucking dick jokes.
But
I don't
then
understand.
when I'm around like woke people, then I feel mega homophobic.
Because I was about to tell you, like, gay in what way, Adam?
Right. Yeah. But I just can't, like, you know, like I'm not, I don't know. It's like I'm kind of like just teetering in that space right between homophobic and actually gay, which is
Really?
cool. I
Why
don't
do you
think a lot of
think
people
you're
get to do that. Now I'm homophobic, but it's like,
Have you interviewed some gays? Gay men?
yeah, a couple over the years.
Yeah?
I'm sure.
Gay men are a great interview.
Yeah.
I love watching gay and straight men have questions together. Like any boyfriend I have that like has like talked to my gay friends, I love it when they're just figuring out what a top and bottom is. It's just your mouth being open right now.
How could you, I mean, that
Pretty
feels
gay.
pretty self-explanatory.
No,
Somebody's got to be on the top and somebody's got to be on the bottom, right?
No, like questions kind of like be in verse, right? Like
Right.
a lot of straight men don't really understand that concept. Like, or even when I have like very femme guys that are tops, like everyone's confused. Like, I thought if you were a little girly, you're the taker. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many questions about homosexuality that are unanswered that I really like when straight men and gay men have that dialogue together.
I have this situation that I landed myself in years ago. Before.
I don't know where this is going.
Well, basically, I hung out with this girl that I met on Tinder or whatever, and she was an airplane stewardess. So they have sort of like temporary like homes that basically exist just
Yes.
for people who are stewardesses
Yes.
or whatever, right? Like
Flight patterns, yeah.
I think they might even have bunk beds and shit. It's like multiple people per room. And so I go out with this girl, and then we go back to her apartment, and she tells me that she lives in this stewardess house, basically, right? I walk in, and there's a fucking dude on the other side of the room, and he says to her, he goes, she's a tall drink of water. And I realize now that was the first time I had ever been misgendered, most likely.
No, it's more like somebody calling you sis or bitch.
I know, but I just was like, oh, that's so, because like I could tell from the way he said it too that he didn't think that I would understand that was the joke, and I actually did think it was fucking hilarious. I'm like, oh, okay, we're doing that now.
That
cool.
is.
And then they got me to fucking sniff the poppers.
Did you like it?
Not really.
I don't like it either.
You know.
But I feel like if we've sniffed something else in our lives, what is poppers?
Yeah. It didn't seem like it was, obviously it's
For
not as
anyone that
intense
doesn't
as
know what
other
poppers
drugs.
is, you can't go in a store and ask for it. You could ask for like leather cleaner. It's some kind of liquid formula that basically gives you a rush. You feel very warm and it relaxes your body. And gay men tend to use it because it can open their asshole
It
up.
makes your asshole go.
How do you know?
That's just what I hear. I didn't know that was supposed to be the intended effect until after, and I was like looking it up. I'm like, oh, I wasn't paying attention to my asshole during that.
People use it for like recreational purposes. Like I've been to a gay club where someone gave me poppers and I'm like, dude, what is this? Like heroin? Like it totally takes me down. I don't like that feeling.
Really?
No, if I'm gonna get high, I'm going up.
When I was with those gay dudes in the stewardess house, though, they were telling me about, like, they were just talking about their actual lives, and it was like the most drug-riddled shit I could have ever imagined, and the most outlandishly slutty whore behavior I've ever heard. And I was like, wow, like, this is the real soul of the gay community that they don't tell us about in the media.
Stewardess house.
I mean, I just felt like, wow, this guy's really hitting me with like how these motherfuckers be living. Because the thing about the stewardess dudes are like, you couldn't pick a better
I
job.
can't stop laughing at you saying stewardess because it just shows. All right,
Flight attendant.
I know I say it too, and someone told me it makes me sound old.
But the thing is like, what I gathered from all this is that you don't get that job as a gay man for any reason other than the fact that it allows you to fucking be in different cities every night, have your pick of, like, just from talking to him, I realized like, wow, this is a job that's really suited to a guy who wants to kind of live this crazy ass
I mean,
life.
gay men are fortunate enough, like, dude, so I'm too emo. Like, I'm slutty, but like, I'm very emotional.
Right.
Like, I can't imagine like a guy fucking the shit out of me and then like getting me an Uber. I'll probably start crying.
Really?
I have the nerve.
So you can't just like go over a rapper's house and just get digged down and then just be done?
I wish I could because I feel like I'd have the opportunity. Maybe I wouldn't have to buy my own watches and pay my own rent if I could do this, but I can't. Like blue check guys, like I've had like one or two, but like
Blue check guys.
they're like, no, I mean industry, right? Like they're very difficult for me because I want a regular ass dude I want someone a little bit predictable.
Right. Well, a guy who doesn't have any money or a blue check is going to fuck you
I
like he
didn't say
really means
no money.
it. Right. Okay. Well, but I'm just saying, like, a guy who, like, a rich dude, quite often is going to fuck you like he doesn't give a shit because he probably really doesn't
Broke
give a
dick
shit.
is the best dick, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
Lisa Ann, we interviewed her and she said something and I'll never forget it. She was like, sometimes I fuck a guy with an amazing dick and I'm like, this is, you don't need a job. This is exactly the thing you need to be doing in life.
Right.
My best dick I've ever had was like, he had to have been backed up on rent, unemployment. I don't know if they just give all they can. And some people make jokes about them needing a house, but like, no, they just like know how to fuck because they know that's why they're there. When I've fucked wealthier men, like they may not put in as much effort, may not want to eat pussy too long or whatever because they know they can give me all the other shit. I'm eating escargot and then maybe I'll get some like 5 minutes of sex. But the broke dude, first of all, they know they're like not on my level. So they're excited to fuck me, which is kind of cute.
They want to impress you.
Right. They know they have to fuck shit out of me. Actually, I met this guy who lives with his mom, Just got out of
and
jail.
now you're a sex podcaster, so you really got to impress the sex podcaster.
Right. But then I feel the same way. Like now when I'm sucking dick, I feel like I have to put a lot of work in. Oh. But whatever, anyway. So the guy lives with his mom and he tells me like, yo, I know I ain't really got a lot to give, but if you let me fuck you, you'll never stop fucking me. And he's like, you can get a husband and a whole new dude and I'll still let you come get this dick. And I was like, damn, it really must be good. And I haven't fucked him yet. But I'm waiting on the moment. I just got to make sure you won't take a picture of me or something. Like, I'm scared of that. I feel like broke dudes might try to, like, leverage that.
Well, hey, you're popping now. You're the rapper. You got to take their phone away.
No, you think?
Yes, you're Drake now.
Oh, my God.
It's kind of hard to imagine this happening because it's like, how are you going to tell somebody who's, like, bigger and stronger than you, like, give me the phone. I'm going to go lock this up. He's going to be like, fuck you.
I mean, I could probably tell him, like, yo, like, I don't want you to show your friends, give me your phone. And when I take, like, tapes and shit like that, like, I'm like, use my phone.
Right.
And it has to be my phone. I love masturbating to my own, like, shit.
Right. You do. Mm-hmm. It's interesting.
I try not to watch porn because it's making me, like, want crazy and dirtier things. I'm having nastier and dirtier dreams because of it, and then I have to keep clicking. Like, first I'll start off with a regular threesome, then I gotta watch a fucking cream pie getting eaten out of your pussy, and then it's gotta like be farted out of your pussy, and now I need bukkake, and it's like, let me just watch myself get fucked and I'll be okay.
You've been radicalized.
Yo, don't say that.
I mean, that's what it is.
It's true.
One day you're watching a fucking documentary about the election, and then the next minute you're QAnon.
Nah, I don't think I can go that
far. It's not that far.
Nah. I mean, I'm still a little Black Lives Matter. Matter of fact, we interviewed Freddie Gibbs, and I was telling him how when I watch porn, I like watching black women, and a lot of the bukkake scenes are like white dudes. And I'm like, but they be talking to black girls crazy. And he was like, and I'm like, so it throws me off. He's like, what kind of fucking Black Lives Matter pussy do you have? No lie, I turn off porn when I feel like it gets racially tense.
Really?
Like, you know those, like, the dog fart brand? How they wear, like, Confederate flags and shit.
Do they?
Yes. And they be like calling them black bitches. And I'd be like, oh my God, I got to mute this.
Oh my God.
I'm telling you.
No, but I
bad.
think I saw the worst of it because back in like 2003, early internet era, I remember that there was a message board thread about this website that was literally Nazi N-word-hard-R.com. And the website was all these guys, white guys with big ass swastika tattoos and shit, fucking black women and saying the worst things you've ever heard to them. And I brought this up on the podcast and everybody acted like I was crazy because it doesn't exist right now. But then I Googled it and I managed to find like an archive of this previously existing. So yeah, that definitely traumatized me a bit because I still remember it like it was yesterday, and this was like 20 years ago.
Race play is like a real thing, dude. And like
Really?
it's the power dynamic too. And so a lot of my gay male friends tell me they get the most requests for like race play on Grindr and shit like that.
Really?
Oh my God. Like I don't even like the term BBC. Like saying big black cock is so fucking dumb to me. Like it's
That is funny, right?
It's some of the dumbest shit. Like I get it when you need to search, but like, can you please give me your big black cock? It's like, what the fuck, dude?
Right. I feel like a lot, like porn is slowly having to like grow up a little bit because like, okay,
that's why OnlyFans is it right now.
The previous standard by which it was normal for a white porn woman to not fuck
white porn woman,
white porn star, specifically
with
a woman.
all due respect,
but you know,
white porn
it
woman.
used to be totally normal for them to not fuck black guys because it would keep their value up in the industry or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that's like largely kind of gone away at this point. But you'll see porn stars on Twitter calling out the girls who do take part in that and stuff. Whereas I remember like 10, 20 years ago, I mean, that was just super standard in the industry. The industry like slowly having to inch towards progress, I think.
And even like what you were saying about that, it definitely has changed because when you think about the brand Blacked, that production value is insane. So like I don't really like watching white girls in porn with black men because then I can't see myself. Like if I watch a white couple fucking, I feel like I'm watching someone else. But like if it's like a black dude, being that I normally fuck black men, I'm like, oh, I gotta see someone that looks like me so I can put my head in it. Like how do you watch porn? Do you watch it as like an aesthetic thing or like your dick is in it?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Can you watch black dick in porn? Or does it feel like
Oh, no, I don't care. Yeah. Actually, I really don't want to see a white dick. They're smaller on average.
I've seen some big white dicks.
Me too, but the genre of big dick porn is 100% black,
Yeah,
which
like
is something I didn't realize until a certain point.
You can find a big white dick if you search monster cock. That's the white BBC.
Okay.
Because ain't nobody listing no black dick like monster cock invades white women. Like, no, you're just going to put BBC. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I do feel like I need to like put my head in it, which is probably why I like watching myself.
I don't like specifically search out. Actually, no, when I think about it, like a lot of times when I do watch porn, it is a white dick. But I would never go out of my way for either. But I will say that if the dick seems small, like I'm not trying to see you get finger banged. So this is just really not going to do anything for me, you know?
Which is, I really appreciate you saying that because men act like they don't care, but like it doesn't feel real or you want to like see. I can't watch small dicks in porn either.
No, what's the point?
Maybe anal.
I would rather watch anal than vaginal because it feels like at least they have more skin in the game. Like this is dangerous shit. I know you had to prepare for this. Any girl can have sex like it's whatever. Anal, they really got to prep for that shit.
I have not had anal sex yet.
Oh my God, and you have a sex podcast?
It's embarrassing. I keep trying to get it in there. I love fingers in it. And then I think I'm just getting more like in my head about it. I get really scared. Then I started using anal dilators and then like the head went in.
And the numbing cream?
Yo, Mandii said she got her fucking mouth like numbed out from it.
Wow.
I felt so bad for her. But
it feels like numbing is taking over the sex game now because you have numbing wipes for your dick. They have numbing gels for your asshole.
I don't even get the point of it. Like, don't you want to feel shit? I'm not having a baby.
I feel you, but I've been getting tattoos for a long time, and then at one point,
I use Hush.
At one point, they're like, "Oh, there's this new cream you put it on your skin, and it makes the tattoo hurt less." Oh my God, why the fuck was I getting tattoos without this shit?
Yo, I use Hush all the time. I have got little tiny ones. Like I have a sleeve, but like still, like that shit changed the game.
My daughter got her ears pierced. Boom, they're putting gel on there to numb it and stuff beforehand.
Yeah, but for getting fucked, don't you want to like? That's what I don't understand. Like my favorite feeling of sex is like. When it's like the first few pumps, when it's going in, I feel my pussy stretching out. Like I think that's like the best part of it for women. And I could only imagine, like even if I'm fingering a girl, like feeling the entry point, like that's exciting when you feel pussy open.
But your asshole hasn't been radicalized yet, so I feel like you need to ease your way in, and maybe the numbing gel will get you there.
All right, man, I'll try the anal news.
Just I feel like that's what it's for.
It is, but like I just want to feel my body. Like I don't want to be shitting myself because the fucking anal ease like lasted too long.
Oh, I never even thought about that.
What if your ass feels like loose? You know what I'm saying? I can't like control it. Like I can Kegel my pussy, but if my ass is numb, what am I gonna do?
I already feel like my ass is loose from taking shits all these years.
No.
At least a little bit. Not like it was when I was a kid.
What do you mean?
I mean, I'm just when I wipe my ass now, I feel like the fossil that you get when you press the toilet paper. I feel like it's bigger. Like it's been radicalized. It's been opened up a little bit.
It's a muscle. Maybe we need to get let it in your ass.
I mean, a shit is like the same diameter. That's what I don't get. Why do we act like it's such a big deal to take a dick in the ass when everyone takes a shit and we all know that a shit is like approximately the same size as a dick?
I've been thinking that. I have been thinking that because sometimes, damn, dude, you have a lot of male listeners. They're really not going to want me now.
No, they're going to love it.
Oh, thanks.
Probably half of them want their assholes reamed out.
No, but now I'm talking about shit.
Yeah, it's all good.
No, like I actually like don't talk about shit with guys I'm fucking.
One of the most popular clips that we've ever done on here is there was a porn star girl and she was talking about how she just told her agent how she wanted the guy to shit on her and how he told her like you're gonna have to go to Germany. I don't think you're allowed to do that here, etc. And that to this day it will go viral on TikTok. It'll go viral on YouTube. Other people put it on their podcast constantly.
Subaru Kate, do you know who this girl is?
No.
This white girl is fucking crazy. It's disgusting when you click on her. I almost want you to get your phone.
Subaru Kate.
I click on her Twitter. I want to interview her, but the premise of our show is to like destigmatize black kink. Oh my God. She has shit on her chest, throw up in her hair. She's ate a fucking tampon. Honestly, it's disgusting, but for some reason, I'm looking at it like this. You know what I mean? When like your eyes half open, like I can't stop. Not that I'm like coming to it or anything, but I need to know what's going on.
I searched Subaru Kate and I'm pretty sure it's a woman named Kate standing in front of a Subaru, but I'm going to do some more Googling soon.
Dude, wait till you see it. It's disgusting.
Type XXX after it.
But like, I mean, constant, like, it's just everything is so dirty and nasty. I don't know how it's legal.
But that's an interesting objective to destigmatize black kink. Do you feel like that's something where like white people have just kind of like become more open-minded to that and that the black community kind of needs like a kick in the ass to kind of change some of their attitudes on it?
I mean, yeah, like for example, like pup play, right? People being put on leashes and shit. Like when I talked about that,
we need more black guys on. Like you think that's like better for society? Like everyone needs to be walking around leashes.
It's really about liberating black people.
Brian Pumper was very ahead of his time in that regard. Continue.
That's true. Like BDSM for of course I know Brian Pumper. I mean, hello.
He was
Black
walking
porn
around-
matters.
Great. Continue. We can talk about Brian Pumper all day. I'm not going to do that to you.
And now, like, when I like talk about crazy shit with porn or whatever, like people are always like, oh, that's WPS, white people shit. So we try to bring on black people that do this crazy nasty shit too. You know what I'm saying? Like most popular sex podcasters are white, or they're white porn stars, or they're white entertainers. And Mandii and I were black girls that were just doing dirty shit and having fun ass lives. And we bring people on that live this lifestyle because our audience is black, and we want to make sure it's reflective of the guests. Not all the time, like y'all weren't black, but there's once in a blue. Matter of fact, you were maybe one of 3 white men we'd had on in years out of 300 episodes. But like, you're adjacent.
I'm adjacent. I'll give
Like we
myself
had
that.
Rory, Adam, and Andrew Schultz. You know what I'm saying? Like
Andrew Schultz is so much less adjacent. He has like a podcast with Charlemagne, but then he's so much less adjacent to hip hop than Rory or I would
it's
say.
not hip hop more than black people love Andrew, bro. When I saw Andrew in DC, that was when it hit me. I really love Andrew. I know he be like, I feel like sometimes I'm in the middle sometimes, because sometimes they'll talk shit about Rory or Mal. He'll say things I don't like about him, but I will say this much: he is fucking hilarious. His stand up is crazy.
Yeah,
he does he's so smart, and he does a really good job at his work. But anyway, in DC, I saw maybe a handful of white people, and I went to I just stood. His cameraman and I own the studio together in New York.
Right.
So I was there for a few of the shows. Barely saw white people. Like, niggas love Andrew. Wow. I don't know why.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
They fucking love him.
Does that kind of piss you off?
Sometimes. And then like he had his Black Lives Matter like episode on Netflix, and I was like, my heart was racing the whole time. I was like, please, please, please. I've had people write me though, like they don't like that I fuck with Andrew. They feel like, you know, he gets like a little too, like he had Alex Jones on his podcast, who's a fucking dumbass. But I think Joe Rogan, who loves Andrew, has really polarized that white like MAGA audience. I don't see Andrew that way. I see Andrew as a New York liberal person, but I know Andrew knows how to fucking rile people up, and he loves it. He's really good at it. And like he'll get thousands and tens of thousands of people flooding his shit, whether they love him or hate him, they watch him. And to be the most viewed comedian on YouTube is a fucking accolade to have. So
especially because he was like shut out from Netflix and all that for like earlier on in his career. I remember talking to him, and that he just felt like he was too controversial. All these big platforms weren't going to fuck with him, so he starts going hard as fuck on YouTube, and then he like builds his shit up to the point where they will fuck with him. That's pretty inspiring.
It's inspiring, and like I also give a lot of credit to him for that, because for me, Andrew, The Reed, Jesus and Mero, podcasters, and Andrew a little bit different because he's a comedian, Jesus and Mero too, but like podcasters being able to get TV shows and do larger things, like that shows me like I'm in the right pathway sometimes. Like I never really saw Horrible Decisions as this tens and tens of $1 million thing. So in my head, I needed to branch out more and more and more. I can't be in the room with millionaires all the time and working with them and not want to have my millions. You know what I mean? And watching OnlyFans girls that I'm interviewing get fucking millions and millions. You and Lena, be nasty. Like, how am I going to do it? And like, now that I see how people use their brand and keep branching, that's really what made me want to open shit up. Like, I can only talk and suck dick for so long, bro. I'm gonna get tired of this shit.
That's what I actually kind of find impressive about your podcast, is that you guys stay excited and interested about it. Because a lot of times when I'm watching like fucking different podcasts in the hip hop sort of realm, I'm like, can y'all just stop talking about dating, like the politics of dating, or like, oh, do you think that when a guy goes out that he should pay for the girl's food? It's like,
dude,
oh
I
my
can't
God,
hear that one more time.
are you guys really gonna fucking talk about this again? Oh my God. Like, I know I'm 37, so it's just an old conversation to me. Maybe if you're 21, it's a lot more interesting, but I just feel like so much of this relationship talk is so boring in the podcast world now.
It is. And I think that we need to start, if we're, what Mandii and I are able to do, because people thought we would run out a long time, we keep reinventing that conversation with new people. I've had how many threesome conversations. Mandi's talked about the sex club over and over, but we can keep bringing people and their experiences, and that's new and exciting. Like, we just interviewed a couple, a black dude and an Asian chick, about their cuckold relationship and him watching her and how they met. Like, that shit is interesting. Yes, we've told you what a cuckold is before, but now we're seeing it with them. And then maybe we might bring another one, and their dynamic is different. And when you can bring on people to share their journey, it's the same shit. You have a music pod, right?
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
I would say like music, society, culture, whatever the genre
music,
is.
but yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's the rappers over and over, but something's different with each one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like hoes, but they like fucking new Tristan Thompson every week. So
It's true. But like, okay, like I really enjoyed the Kevin Samuels interview we did, but I just can't listen to another evaluation of another woman's dating situation. Like,
you had Kevin Samuels on?
Yeah, and I
think he's a terrible person.
Okay, we can talk about that, but I just have a lot of friends who like watch this shit over and over, and I'm like, bro, at a certain point, don't you feel like you've just learned enough about like unhappy women who are like having a hard time dating?
It's not like the clips at first to me, like they were jarring to see, but like building a brand on shitting on black girls, like I don't like that.
You really think that's what it is though?
100%. I think some of the advice has been I would say conducive, but like for the most part, like no, your most viral and salacious shit is really talking about women badly.
Right.
And like I don't like that. Like,
but don't you think that like the women that he's shitting on, like they deserve it?
No.
Really?
No, I don't.
I think like the point that I was so easily able to call from the Kevin Samuels thing was just like, these women are being raised to not understand what the fuck is going on. Like they just really
telling girls they're fat, looking like a linebacker, shit like that. Like that's fucking nuts.
The women that he says that to are the women who think that they're gonna get some. Like I've seen these women who are like 300 pounds saying that they deserve a guy who's making $1 million a year and shit. And it's like, that's not gonna happen for you. Like you are crazy for thinking that this is how the world works. And for him to have to even tell them that is pretty shocking to me.
It's just shocking to watch him speak that way because I don't really see the caliber of woman he could get. Like I don't find.
But why does it have to go to that right away? I think the thing that's shocking
it goes to that right away because you do need to be exemplary of what you're saying to people. I'm not listening. That's what the Donald Trump bullshit was.
Right, but he dresses very well.
You can't tell us how we need to be a country that's this, and that when your shit is fucked up and you could barely be eloquent.
Right.
Like, don't tell me that I deserve a person who looks like this when like Kevin Samuels is 6.5, 7.
Right, but the thing about Kevin Samuels is that it's not about him. It's like, number one, like, yes, he dresses nice and he came in here with an attractive woman and stuff. So he's doing what he can to paint the picture. But I think that the main thing that his content points out is just how women have had their hand held through life so much and are so not used to being told what's real. And on the other hand, it's like, if you're a fat dude who's ugly and is not going to get any pussy, I mean, it's just the world is lining up to let you know that you ain't shit. And a lot of these women, they
fat
figure
guys
it,
get fucked. That's not true.
They figure it out at like 35 that they're just not, the world is just not as accommodating as they've been told their whole life. And now we have Kevin Samuels to let them know. And I think that he's actually doing important work.
I can't wait for Dr. Umar to get his ass. I really hope they get him.
But Dr. Umar's living in a fantasy world. Kevin talks about real shit.
How is Dr. Umar in a fantasy?
Because he kind of relies on these like fake arguments too of being like, you say mean things to black women. It's not really about that.
No, Dr. Umar is like way deep. Mind you, he's super homophobic, and I can't even believe I'd be sticking up for him like this. But like,
right.
I have really seen Dr. Umar for the good in what he's taught people about blackness that I fuck with him for it. I think like when I'm making the Dr. Umar Kevin Samuels joke, I really just want someone to see Kevin Samuels. Like I want to see someone really tell him about himself because I think he needs that. I'm not that person to do that. You're not that person to do that. But Dr. Umar, I think it really tear his ass the fuck up. Maybe.
But I mean, I don't know. I just don't think that the arguments that I heard from that viral video about Kevin Samuels, I just didn't think that's not going to hold any weight. If they're going head to head in a debate, I just think Kevin's going to wash the floor with him because it's so much more ground level perspective of how we actually know that people operate.
It's just the message that he's giving. He's not really telling you like you need to like, you know, put your standards in check. He's really like shitting on these girls to the point where he's like, this is what you deserve. And
but
I think
those are the women who call in and ask for relationship advice. So it's kind of hard for me to like I agree. If you were to just choose a random woman in the public eye and just start rating her dating possibilities, that would be very like bad.
I mean, in a way, it's like the Jerry Springer shit, right? It's like, yo, why do they go on this show when they watch every week and they know they about to look crazy?
Right.
But I don't know. Maybe it's hard for me because of the age. Maybe because they're black women. Like, I just feel like every clip I've seen when he's shitting on a girl, they're black. And like, that's really hard for me to watch.
I feel like that's just his audience. Because I feel like he would be eager to talk shit to a white woman.
It might. You think so?
I don't really see, like, I don't think it's like racialized besides the fact that he just has a largely black audience.
Well, I just mean the viral clips of like, you know, you calling girls ugly. Like they're always.
And believe me, he takes it way too far. He says the rudest, most fucked up shit I could ever think of. I mean. And he knows that he's doing that and he's going to get extra media attention from his audience for like.
But see, Howard Stern, a Charlemagne, people like that can make those moments happen without being that disgusting, that's talent. What Kevin Samuels is doing is just like mean. The way that you can bring out things to people and either get them a little riled up or angry or whatever, like, that's not you really, really shitting on someone for this fucking moment. That kind of shit, I don't really like that.
I would never want to be in the position of having to do the kind of content that Kevin Samuels does. But actually, that's why I think it's almost kind of like brave, because Charlemagne like would never speak to a woman on his show that way. Granted, he doesn't interview just like random ass women who have nothing going for him. But I feel like he has too much of a career. He knows that his career would probably fucking torpedo if he said that kind of shit. The point, though, I think, is just to be real. Just be honest. But
Charlemagne doesn't need to do that.
But don't you think we're in a society that really disincentivizes being honest?
Is honesty calling someone a linebacker?
I mean, if she's the size of a linebacker, then I mean, she's a linebacker, right? I mean,
I feel bad, bro. Like,
nobody would ever get on a woman's ass for saying the same thing to a fat man, basically, is what I would say about that.
The way that he shits on people, I don't know, bro. And I feel like fat guys get fucked, bro. Like, I fuck chunky dudes. Like,
I know. The world is set up unfairly, for sure.
It is, because I started to look past it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'd be like, all right, he's funny.
Yeah.
I like your car.
We all know. I mean, we just interviewed these dudes. I don't know if you know about them yet, the Fresh and Fit podcast.
Earn Your Leisure literally called me and they're like, you have to go on this podcast. Are they out of Miami?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard about them.
If you hate Kevin Samuels, you really hate these guys.
Oh, that's probably why they want me on there. Why? What do they do?
Well, they had like an analogy that I thought was pretty compelling, the candy shop analogy.
Okay.
And it's basically the idea that, you know, because like a lot of women will like not understand why a guy who's 35 or 40 or whatever will want to be doing all this house shit. They'll be like, I have it out of my system by that age, so why are you on that time now?
So they just started making money?
Well, yeah, because like he said, he was picture a candy store, and like some people can go into the candy store when they're 18, and then some people are only allowed to go into the candy store once they're 35.
I'm not mad at that analogy.
The second group is men, because realistically, like as a man, and this just made sense of my life to me so much, because like I knew that things didn't feel right for me when I was like 18, 19, because I knew I just couldn't like get like the hottest girl in the club or whatever. It's because as a man, you have no value until you do something with your life, until you earn some money, until you make something out of yourself. Whereas with a woman, I mean, her market value is probably the highest when she's like 18 to 21.
Her market value, you think? I think it's got to be at least mid-20s, dude.
I mean, yeah, definitely can hold out to the mid-20s for sure. But like, you know, women get to enter the candy store at 18. And guys really, like, if you go to the club at 18 and you don't have anything going for yourself, you're not in the game yet.
I don't think that's Kevin Samuels bad. I agree with that analogy. I 100% understand when men that start getting money go through that fucking midlife crisis weird shit when they start, like, I get it, because your access changes. Like, from a low level of describing this, right? Like, I noticed recently, like, I never thought I'd want to buy like an expensive watch or jewelry. I always thought that stuff was stupid, but it's because I didn't have money like that.
Yeah, I know. It's easy to say that when you don't have the money, right?
When like tens of, like, I don't want to say it like that, because like sometimes I really try to keep myself in check and have some humility here. But like at the same time, like a few $1,000s on shit, it really ain't nothing to me no more. Like it really isn't. So when I'm buying that stuff, I'm doing it more, and I'm like, why am I suddenly having the taste to buy this or that? And I'm not talking about like a Gucci bag. I'm talking about a Gucci t-shirt with just the label inside, just chill shit. Why am I doing that for me? Right. And it's because I can, and I couldn't before, and now I have that access. And that's just men with pussy.
And I did that at first too. Like I bought a fucking chain, I bought a grill, I bought a bunch of designer shit, and then like though I wouldn't even say it made me not that much happier. I would say it actually made me less happy to have that shit in my life, and to sort of like carry around, like have something on you that sort of represents your status. Like, what am I, a fucking king or something? I just can't get into it. Big
chains, yes, but I think there are little money things we all need that make us feel good. I live in New York, so a car isn't really it for me, but you know, I have to get a place in LA now.
Where you stay, I could totally understand.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that, because someone made a comment to me about where I stay, and she's like, you're bougie. And we know, she's like, I have a loft. I live in the Lower East Side. My studio's in Soho. Mm-hmm. And 100%, I got that studio in Soho on purpose, because I know what it means to have that shit. Like, it was cheaper to get it in Brooklyn, but I know what the fuck a black-owned studio in Soho means. And my partner got it too. Like, I want to be that bitch that has that. And it is location. You know what I mean? Like,
In New York, 100%. Yeah.
It 100% does. And so the LA thing, right, with the car, watch, small things. Like I've been driving around a Camry for the past few days. I mean, I don't live here, right? And I was like, yo, I gotta get a G-Way. Like, I gotta get some nice shit. I can't be pulling up the fucking bungalow or Soho House and this shit.
And that's what's funny too, is that like you're not from here, so everyone 100% knows it's a rental, but it doesn't matter. Everybody just gets it.
Dude, people are saying that. Is that true?
What?
Like they know it's a rental because it's not like.
Well, why would you have something? Well, you're gonna ship your car from New York City to here for the weekend?
No, but like I feel like people that have seen me get out of that car are like, oh, where are you from? Like, how you know I don't live here because it's a Camry?
Does it have dealer plates or something? I don't know.
I don't know. It just fucking looks like it's a gold one. It's champagne. It look like you don't fit. But no, like I see the need for a nice car here,
right.
And I know that that's ridiculous to say because I should be past trying to show off. But I really think I'd feel good if the car looked better.
Yeah.
Like I was kind of wondering where I should park in your shit.
But my girl, honestly though, is on the opposite side of the spectrum where like. I've like tried to tell her like you should just get a nicer car because this car is just kind of fucking gross, and like she just doesn't, she like refuses, and she makes this obscene amount of money, and I'm just like, you know, I'm telling her, I'm like, I had a bum ass car for a long time and now I have a nicer car, and I'm totally not a car guy, but I will say that it definitely improves my quality of life for that percentage of my day.
It does. And also, but we all have our vice. That might not be Lena's vice. Like mine, it's travel and it's like experiences. Like I'm at this point now, Adam, I want to stop so bad. I'm not even kidding. I get to the club and if I'm not getting in, I'm buying a table. Bitches don't buy tables. But for some reason, I feel like I put my big fucking pussy in front of your face and every dude's wondering why the fuck bitches are in my shit. And I don't know why, but it's like feeding me and I eat it up. It's so stupid. Right. I should not be buying a table. But I do it because it makes me feel good.
How much are we talking?
I mean, you know, like
5,
a little under.
Okay, that's one thing. I'm permanently scarred because I listened to this podcast, which I've now mentioned like 5 times on air. So I totally apologize to everyone who's heard this. But I was listening to academics talk about going to the club in Miami, and the fucking rich billionaire kid who's like trying to be 6ix9ine's friend spent $80,000 on 2 tables for like 3 hours total at 2 different clubs.
Different, Adam. When you're a billionaire, like. When I'm 100,000aire, okay? So when you've got that much, it's nothing. Like think about how you pay for convenience right now. I was just saying this shit to Kenya the other day about how we were both talking about how we're living off a different amount of money now and can't go back. And I ain't rich like him, or I'm not making as much money as Lena probably, right? So like, it's really... I told him, I was like, yo, I paid $100 to get an iPhone charger here in an hour. I was like, you know how fucking insane that is? Like, I could have just walked to that Rite Aid and get it for $10, but I didn't want to move, and I wanted to hear it right now, and I wanted him to come inside and give it to me. Paying for convenience like that is starting to happen to me, and that shit is wild. I don't know when that shift happened, but that's the money shit. That billionaire to just have that conversation or that access or be a fan, that was nothing to him.
Yeah.
It's just like where the money is. Yeah. Like, I think that the richer we get, the more we pay for convenience. And granted, maybe he could have talked them down, but even maybe saying he spent 80 was a thing for him. Like rich people kind of like telling you how rich they are. You notice that?
Yeah.
The more you're around some wealthy motherfuckers, I'm not talking about people you've interviewed. I'm talking about like I know you know what I mean. Yeah. They love telling you that shit. I put a few million in this. I'm investing in this. Like, they love that shit.
I think that's why it's easy for me to not feel the need to flex, because what I'm doing with my life is on fucking display. You can look at my YouTube for 2 seconds and you can be like, oh, that guy probably has money. So I don't have to fucking wear chains and shit. For me, if anything, it's like I'm annoyed by my fame. So that puts me in a different, like if I wear a chain, I'm going to have more people talking to me. I literally want to be left alone.
That is not weird how like, you know you have a gift and it has to be public, but you also are not liking where it's taking you?
It's not that I don't like it. It's because I gladly do it. I'll take the fucking pictures, whatever you need, I'll do it. But it's also like, I don't really get any particular joy out of like being recognized a bunch of times. And to me, that's the crazy thing about wearing all the designer or wearing a chain and shit, is you're just asking for people to... I could get recognized 10 times more if everywhere I pulled up with a driver and I had a chain on.
Chains maybe, but I'll say like designer clothes, some nice things like... I've wanted to buy it, but maybe I couldn't, or a man had to buy those things. And I love knowing I could buy that shit now. It makes me feel really good, like, or not thinking about it, or like, there's even that pretty woman I have when like I'm looking at something and they maybe thought I wasn't gonna get it and I do. And I think it's just those little things when you're on your come up that feel good. But like the showy shit, I know what you mean. Some dudes want to be seen, and they're always like that clanky ass weird fucking chain. That doesn't work for me, dude. I don't know. But going to Sadiq last night, I saw it work.
It's a club.
It's the fucking party where like Drake and Chris Brown and Travis Scott. By the way, I can't believe Chris Brown was at that party after like what people are saying about him. Like I'm in shock at how many celebrities still continue to go to this party like every week. But
right. The thing about Chris Brown is all that shit. It's all fake. Just kidding. It's just every week there's something new and it just never does anything.
It's just crazy. I think you think he's too big to cancel? Or is it because the biggest star, Rihanna's one of the biggest stars in the world. We saw that happen. And it's like, so what does the world care about another girl? Is that why? Because it was her and now it's just some girl on Twitter who says you did this? Like, I don't know how the dots don't connect for him like they would someone else. It's so weird to me. Is his talent that much better that we ignore it? Like, what the fuck is it about him that like no one cares?
I just feel like now, like after the Rihanna thing, it feels like everything after that, people assume it's a cash grab.
Which is crazy to me, considering that when you're violent like that, it's a multiple, like, notice most people who's had someone say that they've abused them, like, it's the same type of abuse. It's very violent, it's very harsh.
Yeah.
Like, even Darren Sharper, remember when that happened? Football player, super attractive, that was raping women. His were, like, very violent rapes, and they were all kind of the same. Like, I don't think guys that need to punch women can stop that.
Right.
I don't believe that. I think it's like almost an addiction. It's the way that you handle emotions. For example, when Mandii and I get in arguments, sometimes we yell. We try not to, we get better, but you better believe yelling is gonna come out because that's how we talk.
Right.
I don't think if you're used to hitting, you can stop that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, honestly, it is a really good question of why that shit just never sticks to Chris Brown. Like, why did the T.I. thing seem... At first, I thought the T.I. thing wasn't going to be that big a deal, and then it ended...
I didn't either. I was like, wow, this is fucked up, but like, no way they're going anywhere.
Yeah.
It could be because it had to do with another woman. And I think we place a lot of a higher standard on women treating women right. So to know that maybe a couple could have possibly done that to other women is very hard to see. Because imagine if it was someone saying you drugged them and then it was you and Lena doing it. It's like, damn, she was letting this happen? For some reason, our brain goes there because we think there's this like sisterhood. Like I used to have mad threesomes when horrible decisions, like I say like 2 years ago, I was always going to this bar and fucking fans with my boyfriend. I'm not even kidding. Like girls be like, oh, easy.
Fan girls, okay.
Yeah. Like with him. And he would always joke about how sweet it was. He thought that I would make sure that their friends knew where they were and that we would Uber them home or like get them food, just small things. But like, I need those things as a woman. So I want to make sure other women know that I'm going to make sure they're good.
Right.
And maybe you've seen Lena do it when you guys have threesomes. I don't know. But like, I feel like when women are in my space and I'm with a man, I need them to know that I got you.
Right.
Because so many times I haven't felt like that with men.
Yeah.
So to watch that T.I. and Tiny shit, if it is real, it's scary to know that you let that shit go on.
Yeah, I can see how that'd be like extra disturbing to people for sure.
Their shit's fucked.
I wonder. Because, I mean, we haven't seen his podcast since it happened or the TV show stopped filming. But then it's weird because that's stuff that involves corporate.
I almost went on that pod the week before with Mandii.
Really?
We were like working out, going on that podcast, like talking a lot, like, and I was like, oh my God, there must have been a reason it didn't happen. I already was worried about it because of like the whole way he talked about his daughter, but I planned to just bring it up on air and have a discussion because I think that's what we should have done. As like, you know what I mean? Like, because that came out of his mouth. That's no alleged shit.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you gotta address that. But now that was a tough one.
Yeah, but okay, would you agree, and we can like pivot out of this too into another topic I want to discuss, but would you agree that in regards to the T.I. thing, it feels like, yes, he lost these like corporate, or not that they necessarily lost him permanently, but like with the TV shit and the podcast deal and all that kind of stuff, a lot of that stuff seems like it's kind of over, at least for the time being. I don't get the feeling that the average rap fan gives much thought to this.
They don't.
It doesn't seem like the average rap fan has really like lost any love for T.I.
They're looking at it for the art, right? Like, it's the people that are the brands.
But T.I.'s not even like a super relevant rapper right now.
True, but like, it's the brand deals and it's the social outrage. For example, with Kanye, I love Kanye's music. He's probably like, the most money I've ever spent in concerts probably was Kanye. And I'm not someone who like knows music to the T, but I fucked with him hard. And when he said that shit about slavery being some mental shit, I was like, oh, fuck him. Like, I was done. I as a music fan was over it. But I think what you're saying, the average rap fan, no. Because that to them is just some normal shit we see. We're so used to hearing accusations like this that it's almost desensitized. But what Kanye said was such a bigger deal than I think that, because of how it affected. You can't watch black people talk shit about black people. That's fucking insane. You know what I'm saying? But like with T.I., we already knew him and Tiny probably fucked girls. So it's like, I'm not sure. And who knows? But no, I don't think it will ruin his rap career. Maybe then it'll ruin them as a brand and as a TV show and as a family. It's got to be hard on their kids too.
But slavery was a choice. It's kind of like so bizarre and hard to wrap your head around what the fuck that could possibly mean, that it seemed like, and I definitely think that was probably one of the worst moments for Kanye in his career, but also like, it just made so little sense to me that I had a hard time really getting mad at him about it, because it's like, what, like...
I don't think you can get mad at him about it because you're not taking the shit personally.
Oh yeah, for me, yeah. But I'm trying to imagine how other people would feel about it. And I was upset about that just because it just seemed insane. Like, what are you talking about?
Didn't he seem to you like that whole time that he kept trying... He was very Candace Owens, bro. Like, you keep trying to let black people know that we're in this fucking trap. Like, we ain't watching Donald Trump doing this shit for years through real estate and treating black people like shit. Not to mention just black people. I think out of anyone, like Muslims, the way that Donald Trump was acting, like we saw him do it over and over with Mexicans, this person, that person. And for Kanye to just, dude, like, I get it. You're a fucking Republican. You got mad money. Just vote for him and shut the fuck up. You did all this and you're a black superstar and we love you because you were fighting for us. I'll never forget that shit with him and what's Austin Powers' name?
Mike Myers.
Thank you. Like, that was an amazing moment and it was real and authentic. And then you fucking do this years later, you stupid fuck.
But the tweet, I love how Candace Owens thinks. I already was like familiar with Candace Owens at that point, and I was just like, bro, idiot. I hate the way she thinks. And I'm not necessarily against like people having conservative opinions. I got plenty of conservative opinions about things, but the way she thinks, literally the way she thinks is like, I'm going to look at whatever the Democratic Party line is and I'm just going to go against it no matter what. I'm going to, whether it's even like with the mask shit, it's like, I hate how that,
oh my God.
You didn't have to tell me that Candace Owens was going to have some insanely stupid opinions about masks for me to know that she was going to have some insanely stupid opinions about masks, because you have to go against the traditional left orthodoxy right now of masks are good. So you just knew that she was going to be anti-Fauci, anti-whatever. It's like the idea that she's like this really great, innovative thinker is like, no, she's the opposite of that, dude. When
you're trying to be so out there that your opinions are so fucking insane, people get very manic. Like, you ever watch, when you're watching a YouTube or a moment of someone, you're like, where the fuck is your brain right now? Yeah. I think that's when you're so hungry to keep riling people up with shit. And that is why Candace Owens is insane to me. And Kanye started to do it. And I honestly believe Kanye's got some mental illness shit going on. But we just need him to get a black girl again, bro. And I know Amber was half, as am I. I'm just saying, he was a little better then.
Right.
Like, we need just one more black girl to get in there. Just.
Does that rub you the wrong way a little bit, that he just goes straight to a fucking non-black supermodel chick?
Yes, only because I love seeing huge black celebrities with black women, because I think it's really important for people to see black couples, black men and women, like not feeling like you have to attain a woman that looks like this when you reach a certain level of success. And I think that for Kanye, especially being so deep rooted in black culture, like, it's kind of like, really? There's some bad black girls, bro. Like, and don't get me wrong, Kim Kardashian's obviously gorgeous, like, and so is Irina Shayk. But it's like, dude, like, you're single now and you're Kanye. Like, you're telling me you haven't seen another gorgeous black actress or supermodel? Like, you could have got it. And I think that sometimes it really helps black men. Like, Andrew Schultz said something about marriage strengthening and being a part of successful businessmen. And I don't know if you've noticed that with yourself, maybe with a healthy relationship with Lennon. Yeah. But like, I believe a lot of black men should be aligning themselves with black women, because I really believe it to strengthen their relationship to their own community. Like, I think a lot of us are kind of like about Kanye because of his relationships. You know what I'm saying? If Kanye got with a black girl right now, he's back, bro. I'm tweeting that Kanye's back. We're all going to get hype about it and be excited because we feel like you came back down to earth. And there is a thing where when you see a black man that's so rich and wealthy and famous not be with a black girl, where you feel like, oh, you just don't want to fuck with us.
Do you feel like you're kind of like just gleefully accepting that identity politics is just going to rule all your thoughts, though, when you say something like that? Like, shouldn't it always just be about love? Shouldn't we not? Maybe I'm a little devil's advocate here, but don't you think we should not, like, race should be the last thing that gets considered when we're talking about who somebody ends up with?
No, not when you're feeling like you're tossed up for another race. I think that it's different. Like, black girls, and I'm light skinned and I'm a smaller girl. Like, there's a lot of factors to this, but I do believe black women are watching this shit go on and feeling passed up. Like, I had a white girl say something to me. I was living in Mexico last year. You and Lena came. I was trying to link with you guys, actually, but I was living there for a few months, and this girl said something to me about a black guy she was dating. We were cool. And she was like, I don't know what shift happened in the last year or two. She's like, I felt like a really sexy white girl, and she's Russian. She's like, I felt like black guys wanted me. She's like, and now suddenly I feel like black girls are back. And it bothered me so much. She's like, I don't know when this happened. I don't know when black girls became like just so in for everyone to where black men don't even want to date me in public anymore. And it made me laugh that she had the nerve to say that to me. But yes, I think that is coming from black girls being more out loud and talking about things like that. Because for years, I think people have felt like that. I think I used to only flat iron my hair because I thought I had to look a certain way for guys that I wanted to attract.
Right.
When now I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. I remember when I was doing a podcast with Dame Dash one time that he just was like, he sincerely asked me, like, when you go into a record label and there's a white girl working there, do you go out of your way to like support her because she's white? And I was like so confused by what he was asking me. And I'm like, of course not. What the fuck would I give a fuck about another person being white for? I don't view myself as like a white person and I need to like help out the other white people. But it immediately occurred to me that to him, that's a completely logical way of thinking about the world, is that, of course, if you're a black guy, you should want to help out other black people.
Dude.
But that makes no sense to me as a white person.
Something.
And I think it's unhealthy for everyone to think that way.
So the studio that we opened, like, it started moving fast and we needed to hire people. And I was going on Twitter and being like, yo, like, I'm looking for a black engineer. I'm looking for a black woman engineer. I'm looking for a black graphic designer. And a lot of white people were upset with me. And even when I went on Flagrant, Andrew was like, oh, you're just shutting all the white people out. And I'm like, look, bro, like, I can't make money on black people I was a sales engineer before I, was an entertainer. I can't make money on all these black people years and years and years, having black podcasts in there, black people paying me and not reinvesting the dollar. That's insane. What the fuck do I look like having a bunch of black podcasts come up in here and a white girl's engineering? This is stupid. I'm supposed to be giving you the same opportunity that I got. It just doesn't add up if I'm not thinking that way. And that forward thinking is really going to, in my opinion, move our culture forward. Killer Mike said something to me on on a Netflix documentary that spoke to me. He said, like, the white dollar and the Asian dollar, they stay in the community for like 20 days or so, circulating. And Jewish and all these communities, it goes around and around. And the black dollar is 6 hours. That is fucking insane. So I can't perpetuate this like black girl shit and rah rah whatever if I'm not really doing it. I have to do it. If I don't, then what the fuck am I saying? I'm just a hypocrite in my own stance. And I feel like I gotta be the person that I'm acting like I need everybody else to be. You know what I mean? Like, there isn't even is a part of me that thinks about sometimes, like, when it comes to Andrew or Rory or even coming on this podcast, like, oh, are people going to be like, you went to the white guy in hip hop or the white guy that's like got to use black culture to whatever? But there's not a lot of you, so it doesn't bother me that much.
I know.
But if there was, it probably would.
I think that sometimes, though, because people would be like, oh, like hip hop, all these interview guys are white or whatever. It's like, bro, you have to like really hone in on like a couple people if you think that.
There's a bucket.
There's me, Vlad, some radio guys probably. But I mean, like, when you look at like the hip hop media landscape, it's like largely people of color, I think.
Yeah.
Me and Vlad are kind of like outlandishly.
I don't even know what Vlad looks like. I know Vlad TV, the name.
He's a Russian Jew. But he, like, our shit is very popular, so I guess it kind of stands out compared to a lot of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I do feel that, though, because, like, okay, even recently we were like interviewing for a job, and we had like a bunch of different people applying, and I would be lying if I didn't say that I considered the black people who are applying to have an inherent advantage, at least like in advantage as in like I would rather hire them because I know how everyone's going to perceive it. And if I was going to hire a white guy, he would just probably, for the same job, he'd probably have to be like way more qualified than the other people, just because I know how people are going to perceive it. It's a hip hop media company. You just, there's just something that's kind of unseemly about it.
I mean,
if you're
I don't
just
even
hiring
want you
too
to
many
say
white people.
perceive it more than like you need to understand this. Like when I did my TV show, like when it got greenlit, I hosted it, created the story or whatever, and like I wanted the film crew to be black. And if they weren't black, they had to be Latino. Only because to me, most of the businesses were black that I was highlighting. Mm-hmm. This is the first finance show ever hosted by a black girl on cable television. I can't not have the camera crew make the guests feeling comfortable. I got a black girl in here talking about domination and some white girl named Katie's gonna be like, yeah, welcome Caramel. No, like let it reflect the people that are right here, right there. Right. And I think that when you keep that in mind, who your demo is, you do have to let your employee, like they're gonna keep you in check. The only reason brands fuck up and keep doing dumbass shit is because black people aren't working there. Like you have to have black people in here.
Right, but okay, just hypothetically, would you agree that if you were saying the same exact thing that you're saying right now, but you're a white person and you were saying it about your white TV show, you would basically be a Klan member?
Correct. However, white people don't need to have that upper advantage because they dominate most of it anyway. You're not thinking about it.
I get that, but I just think that in the long run, sometimes I wonder what people rooting for their own race so hard eventually will do to us, because as a society, it just seems kind of untenable for everybody to be sort of like anti-melting pot now, and instead it's like, no, like everyone needs to sort of like
it's not
fit within
pot more than
their
it's
own
like
group.
Pipe up your own when you can. I'm in a position where I can hire people now, and that's why I'm gonna do that. It ain't like I ain't got white friends. I fuck white boys. Like I like white shit. You know what I'm saying? But like at the end of the day, I understand where it's really gonna matter in those entrepreneurial roles and like things when it comes to being able to hire someone in positions of power. Like I gotta understand what got me here, and like I have to make sure I'm keeping that circle going around. It's not about like not being able to join in, but I do think we do need to strengthen our own people in numbers, because at the end of the day, I know for a fact things have been harder because I was a black girl. Maybe I've been passed up for things like when people even compare Horrible Decisions to Call Her Daddy. Like Charlemagne has been having the largest issue selling ads for Horrible Decisions, and he can't fathom why. Like he's like, yo, I need to build a case around this. He's like, figure out how much Sophia is getting per ad dollar per CPM. I need to know, because there's no reason you can have 100,000 people listening and we can't sell more than a pod less than you.
Right.
And I do believe sometimes it's that black girl shit. It's maybe us saying nigga in the clips. Like, I don't know what it is, but like it does. We do get passed up for a lot of shit because of black shit. Like I know it. And Mandii and I light as hell and half. So just imagine black girls. Like there's another black sex podcast out there, Poor Minds, who are fucking hilarious. And I just started seeing them pop up because 85 South, who's a larger black show, had them on. Right. You know what I mean? Like you do really have to strengthen your people in numbers sometimes. And like that really does help. I do think like black people should join forces with people that are big in their lane. Like much like a Wayno, I'm happy he's doing his show at my studio because I think Wayno is an amazing commentator in hip hop, in black shit. Like I think he's dope at what he does. And I'm honored to be working with him and producing his shit. But like, that's what I want to do. I want to like keep building on that. I love that shit. White people do it all the fucking time. You know what I mean? So it is kind of nice to see that. And I can only just speak for myself in that one black ass world, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that what you're saying about like the white dollar like circulating in the community for way longer than the black community, I mean like that to me is why I think it does make sense for you to want to hire so many black people. Is like you just need to like sort of like go out of your way to increase that, just because there is so little of it. Like there's just not enough black business ownership and everything. And you know, maybe there's like a world like dozens of years from now or however long it could really feel, but where it might feel kind of like unrealistic to still be like sort of like trying to make up for that. I don't know, but like for where it is now, it does seem kind of common sense. Yeah.
I mean, and black entrepreneurs are growing. We just have to be able to support them. You know what I'm saying? Because the first thing black people started doing when black people are selling shit is like, damn, why is it so expensive? And it's like, Oh, I can't stand when people tell me my shit needs to be cheap.
That's what I don't get about why black people get famous and rich and then they just start buying clothes from like French fucking designers that are owned by giant billion-dollar conglomerates.
Because it's what we've been wanting. You know, when you have a black kid who's signing $1 million contracts and he's getting money as a rapper at 18, in his whole life, he's been watching people having these nice things. And it's that you want to show your wealth in that way. Like, I just started, Adam, like, don't get me wrong, I've been talking this black shit for a minute, but like I just started really investing in black designers like within the last year and a half.
Right.
Like understanding what that means. Or like knowing that when I'm buying certain things, like there's got to be a black girl with Instagram boutique. Right. Like it takes a lot of effort to buy black shit. Like I got to search for it. And even with like the hiring black people, dude, I had to look up civil rights laws to make sure I won't get sued. In the state of New York and Florida where I'm registered, 12 employees is the max, and then I got to hire white.
Really?
12 employees is not the max. 12 employees is when you can have a civil right claims against you.
Oh my God.
Oh, I looked it up. Because bitches acting like they were going to sue me on Twitter.
The idea that I could start a business, like what we're talking about.
And
like
be racist up to 12?
Yeah, like you know, I think that like for No Jumper, for sure, like, you know, the majority of our employees are of color at this point. And like, you know, if we're going to hire more people, they're probably going to be of color. But the idea of the government having any say so in the racial breakdown of who works at a business just seems so evil and like the biggest overreach.
But it's necessary because think about it. If you're a big company, like an Amazon, you keep hiring white, we got to make sure you got some white people.
But don't you think the government still doesn't need to get involved in that? Because if you were a business that wasn't hiring enough people of color, that would probably generate so much negative press.
I mean, they have to get involved in it because at one point, like, no, black people weren't getting an opportunity. Latinos or people of color. Like, so they really needed to put the only reason these laws exist is because they weren't getting shit.
But don't you think if a white person wants to start a business and only hire white people, that's their business?
That's their business. Like,
because I would say the same thing about you. If you want to have a 1,000-person company and it's all black people, what the fuck does that have to do with me? Of course, I want to be hands off. I think it's not that it's their business,
but more so like that already happens. Like it's already kind of normal and commonplace that you kind of hire like people around you or people like are recommended to you. So like it kind of just falls in that lane. And for me, it's this: hiring a black engineer. I know there's a white guy I could find, but I know there's a black engineer that can do the same job. So why wouldn't I just give him that? When I know it's more important, because that white guy will get picked up for a job with someone else that maybe that black dude would have got passed over on. That's what I think about when I'm hiring now, when I'm really thinking about why I'm making that choice. When the white guy and the black guy walk into a white-owned studio, maybe they're going to pass up on a black dude for whatever fucking reason. But I can't. Like, that's really why I want to find that person. And I think hiring black, that's really what that means. It's not like you're trying so hard to, like, just keep it black, black, black. It's just that these people are getting passed up. You know what I mean? Like, how the fuck is it possible that Issa Rae had to have a proof of concept and all this shit for Insecure when, like...
You're thinking of Lena Dunham's story about... how she came out and she said that she got girls green lit without even having to put together a
That's sick to me, dude. And don't get me wrong, I love girls. I'm sorry.
I like that show too, even though I despise her.
I can't stand her, but goddamn that show.
But I like that show a lot. Like the first season, I think by like the second, third season, I was kind of over it. But that first season, I really enjoyed.
Bro, my favorite line is Marnie getting robbed in Brooklyn, and she calls somebody, or she says, "Oh my God, I didn't even know people still get robbed." That was so real and funny, and I think it brought Sex in the City back for people. But like, no, Issa Rae shit is crazy good, bro, and like that shit should not have had to have all of that. It just shouldn't. But those are just those moments in that story we constantly hear about, which really makes me feel like, I was like, what's this black girl gonna do? I really think that's why I'm nowhere near an HBO, but when someone smaller can do that, it really helps. Because if we can raise the black dollar up and keep changing the level of access black people have, then like hopefully that'll change the shift in where black people are from a financial perspective. Like I just try to open my mind to that a lot of times and learn about it, because I have for a long time been like hella Democrat and do this and do this and do that. And so now I just got to know how to do it myself and at least speak well enough to it to where I don't look stupid in a room with people that are like having that conversation with me on the opposite end.
Yeah, but I was going to mention this before when I was talking about rappers just spending all their money on a bunch of crazy Italian fucking leather companies or whatever that have nothing to do with their community. My friend Desto Dub has a clothing line that's an awful lot of cough syrup, and his shit, I've seen it blow the fuck up over the past couple of years, and I see Young Thug and Roddy Ricch and all these people wearing it in fucking videos and actually flexing that shit like it was designer. He's black, if that didn't need to be said, but
no, you said that.
He is like that like he really has his community and all these poppin' rappers and all these people who see him and fuck with him and understand that he was a drug dealer and he's really from South Central, etc.
That's fire.
And they rock that shit as if it's fucking some expensive ass
that
designer
helps
shit.
so much.
That makes me like overjoyed because I wish that there was 100 brands like his that people were spending money, and there probably is that are not necessarily on my radar, but I wish that there was more of those and that those people normalize. Like, you're wearing Gucci. Why, why would you give your money to the mall?
They're doing that shit with liquor, and I fucking love it.
Oh, yeah.
Deleon, Lobos. Like, what do they say? Casamigos is a new Hennessy. Like, now when I see, like, Avion, I think Jeezy owns some of Avion. Like, if I'm seeing other brands, like, I ain't gonna front. I get them.
Right.
I got a little racist brain.
Yeah. No, I mean, I remember I was talking to one of my friends one time about what he was doing. He's like a rapper, and he has other businesses. And I was like, so what are you doing in Atlanta now? He's like, man, I just opened a car wash. Out there, you start a black-owned car wash, motherfuckers will just support you. And I was just like, damn. I'm like, I had no idea, but that's like a fucking genius move on your part.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool that people actually would get behind you for that reason. Like, that's dope. That's just putting more money back into the black community. And that statistic you said, like, kind of starts to vanish, I think, as
100%,
more and more of that starts to happen.
Because we're all doing it. White people are doing it too. White people like fucking with black-owned shit, yo. Whether they feel like it's a little check mark on their box, I don't give a fuck. I had some white girl recording my studio, and she posted this video and tagged me, and it's just like, black-owned. I was like, you go ahead, bitch. Like, even Viola, I found out was like a black-owned weed brand. Like, I just try. I feel like we just got to put in a little effort. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm sure there's somebody out there who's probably gonna be like, why you don't do Latino? Bitch, I got one focus at a time. Okay.
Right.
Like, and it's just, honestly, this is mine. And this is where I feel like I could put the most effort in and be useful. And that's just what I want to do. Like, I think it's helpful.
I feel it. Okay. I wanted to ask you about this. Meg Thee Stallion seems in some ways very defeated by the response that she's gotten from like her peers, the men in the rap industry, who clearly don't seem to give two shits about her having allegedly been shot, and she's upset with people like the Baby for not having her back on that.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Were you surprised by the fact that a lot of these artists are pretty quick to keep working with Tory and whatnot?
Yeah, man, I was really shocked at how fast he kind of came back around. When I was doing Sex Sells, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this. Am I a Selena right now?
Go crazy.
I feel really, I don't know if I'm violating something, dude.
You're actually beyond the reach of the law when you're on this podcast. Nobody can sue you or do anything to you for anything you say on here, I assume.
We had like certain, like the rapper that we had on was Young and May on my show. And like one that was like very readily available was Tory Lanez. And apparently he was offering way more promotion, and his team was like doing a lot to try to like get him on anything. And to me, like, I remember they were like, okay, we have a rapper. We're pretty sure what you're going to say. I thought they were going to say T.I., to be honest. I didn't know what they was coming out with. And when they said Tory Lanez, they're like, are you fucking kidding me? And like he was offering this, that, how this many posts, this much airtime, and it's like, oh, his team was trying to fucking throw him at anything. And I'm like, hell no, bro.
Right.
What the fuck I look like going on horrible decisions, being like feminist, rah. And to be honest, I am disappointed at how people actually believe Meg, and they just don't give a fuck. And with the T.I. thing that we had discussed earlier, when people are accusatory, we don't know those girls. And much like the Chris Brown thing, we don't know those girls, but we knew Rihanna. Like, I am very surprised at that. And Meg seems like a sweetheart. Like, she's not controversial at all. Like, we all really like her. She's like a very natural girl. She can rap too. Like, it's fucked up.
I read the comments, and it's like, you really would think that Meg did something wrong by getting shot.
I know.
Like,
I believe he shot her. Do you?
I definitely think it seems like the most likely scenario. I'm still like a little bit open-minded because I feel like there's stuff that's going to come out in court that might make me think different about it, but it seems kind of unlikely.
I'm sure she was maybe yelling, but I don't give a fuck what she was saying. Like,
I think by default she was yelling.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Well,
she might have punched him in the fucking face, and I've kind of heard that like she might have like hit him first, but I mean, who the fuck cares?
Shoot me?
That's way different. Yeah.
I agree. Like, I think there's nothing that could top that. And like, when you could potentially kill somebody, but honestly, I think that's that Napoleon shit. Like, I really believe short men have a fucking complex. Hate to get dark, but I've had a man put their hands on me, and I think he was 5'8", 5'9", And after that, it was very difficult for me to date short men. And I really believed that he was doing it because in his ego, like he just needed to feel stronger and more powerful. And short dudes scare the shit out of me. And I'm sorry for short dudes. Like, I just don't know. That violent, that temper, it's either a small dick thing or a short thing. I just feel like it gotta be one of the two. I don't understand when like the narcissism and the ego gets so out of control. Like, what is it? Like, it's not even normal. You know what I'm saying? And like for Tory Lanez to have to shoot a bitch, like, are you fucking kidding me?
Right.
How bad was it? And in a car? Like, dude, that's crazy.
That's the crazy thing about it, is that the story sounds so bad that given that it was like a year ago or probably longer by this point, like the idea that he isn't already in jail, to so many people, just it feels like he must be innocent or there must be something more to this. But she tweeted out, she wrote, "Justice is slow." Which, I mean, like anyone who knows about like this kind of case, and especially during COVID, of course it's going to take a long time. It's easily going to take a year during COVID. For it to take a couple of years shouldn't surprise anybody. But yeah, I've definitely been surprised that.
And entertainers, though, supporting him. And I think this is one thing that I feel like scares me and may lead to my demise one day. I'm not really afraid to say I don't like people because I'm not scared. Like, you know how people don't want to like burn bridges? Like,
right.
If I think you fucking did some shit, like, I don't really care to say it.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't. Like, what is really going to stop my bag? Because I said I think so-and-so really hit a bitch. Like, I really think you shot her. And I think rappers trying to be so neutral and civil is some punk shit. Like, the baby is huge. Who gives a fuck if you don't work with Tory Lanez again? It's not Jay-Z, bro. Like, get the fuck out of here. And I only compare, not to say if Jay-Z did it, it wouldn't be wrong, right? I more so mean, like, the weight of that person. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, really? It's just, it's sad to watch, but also, she's a girl. I don't really expect more from men. No offense, but most men are pretty terrible.
Out for the home team.
I love dick, but men are terrible. Like, I hate men so much some days, and I'm like, damn, I still need to get fucked.
Right.
It's awful.
That's hard for you, huh?
I wish I could just cut it right off.
Cut it off and just kind of
But
leave
see,
it
sometimes it's
jumping
not
around
enough.
your room, just kind of have a life of its own.
Like, don't talk to me, but fuck me.
Yeah, because like, I mean, I feel like if this were a situation where Tory Lanez had shot some dude, let's choose a hypothetical. Let's say that he has shot Quavo in the foot. Every rapper who is even slightly cool with Quavo is going to immediately be in the I will never work with Tory Lanez category, right?
100%.
And
100%.
To see Meg not get the same treatment is like, I feel like I'm just kind of like on the outside looking in at how this is all playing out because it's just
jarring,
so bizarre.
Right?
It's just.
Let me ask you this, which even makes it funnier. Don't you think Meg is a bigger star than Tory?
Yes, but I also.
I feel like that's not even a toss-up. Like, I feel like we know that.
But this brings up a totally different thing, which is that I feel like Meg Thee Stallion is a huge superstar, but I don't think she's that popular for the hardcore rap community or like the actual like rap fans.
But
like,
she's still more popular. If
but
you had
in
to
a way
ask
that I don't
a
think that
random
a lot
person
of
on
them
the
care
street
about.
that doesn't know hip hop, right? Like, if I asked my mom right now with one of the two, she probably would know who Meg Thee Stallion is.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Whether it be just from her face or from the name recognition. Who the fuck knows Tory Lanez? And that's the wilder shit to me about bigger stars than Tory Lanez not doing that. And it's disappointing. And I do think there is this boys club that, you know, unfortunately some female rappers can't get into, but she's going to be good. Meg Thee Stallion, I believe, will make money all her life being
But like, okay,
great.
just to give you an example, I seen when I first started to really realize that there was like a Meg backlash was when I saw her winning these sort of corporate awards for like best new rapper, et cetera, and Lil Baby was getting beaten. And then I just saw on Twitter and in the comment section on academic shit and everything, I just started to realize like, this is going to be the thing that makes the general rap populace kind of turn against her, is if she starts seeming as if she's being showered with praise and awards from the mainstream.
Because they feel like she doesn't deserve it.
And then meanwhile, like I don't think she makes the kind of music that a lot of like real rap fans are really that intrigued by. And then meanwhile, when you look at Lil Baby, it's like Lil Baby is a million times more popular than Meg by rap fans.
True, but like, how often do we see women making strides like that?
Right.
Like,
But the average rap fan, if anything, thinks that women are like too privileged, not like that they need more opportunities.
I'm almost tired of the conversation too about like people being like, oh, Meg Thee Stallion, all she talks about is like, you know, her ass and fucking. It's like, these niggas talk about fucking bitches and drugs and killing people. So like, it's the same shit.
But look how fucking quick people get sick of all these other rappers.
Like who?
I mean,
I probably don't even know him, huh?
no, but I mean, think about like what people say about like the new Migos album. People say they're saying the same shit. They're still saying the most boring. You know, they're like people just aren't really intrigued by them anymore because it just feels like it's the same shit over and over. I feel like probably the rap fans feel the same way about Meg at a certain point, except that they don't even care because the thing that she is talking about quite often is like shaking her ass and shit. And the rap fans, they just have no. It's like Cardi B.
Mm-hmm.
Cardi B, I think, is like more well liked by the average rap fan, but you would still hear him say the same thing of like, I'm not going to listen to her album over and over.
I disagree only because I want a certain Migos type track when I go to the club. I want that same sound. When it comes to Meg Thee Stallion, there's I don't want to keep hearing when it's I want the new one.
Right.
I still want to shake my ass. I just need a new shake my ass song. So keep making shake my ass shit. Like, stop telling me that she's not dynamic enough when I want one fucking thing from her, bro. It's so dumb.
But
I don't want to see Jonah Hill do a fucking drama. I want more comedy from him. Like, stop acting like people have to branch out into this other shit to be like bigger and better. No, I want Future to talk about disrespecting women and drugs.
But Future has to constantly switch up his formula to keep people interested. And Future is somebody who's like 37 years old and people are getting fucking sick of him sort of making the same songs over and over. The fact that people still fuck with him so much is a testament to how good he is and how popular he is. But
it's that sound that we like.
Sometimes it feels like Meg is kind of insulated from that real criticism of her music because she's just so, people want to support her so much and people want to like her so much. And when the mainstream is really showering you with attention, the like real rap fans or whatever, I think are quite often just going to sort of reject her based on that.
That's her only factor. Like, see, when I look at Meg, and I'm not someone that's like crazy into music and her lyrics or whatever, but Cardi is such a sensation. I like Meg's music better. I like her look better. I think she looks more like a normal girl. And I think
that's for sure.
And the relatability of like knowing she was in college is like really cool, I think, for a fan. You know what I'm saying? Like, and don't get me wrong, I love that Cardi B came from Love and Hip Hop and she loves living in her ghetto shit. Like, she's cool for that too. But definitely Meg is more normal looking. And I think we all find it sexy. Her body is more of the average looking girl opposed to like super fake titties, the etched abs. Like,
But don't you think the average rap fan is into fake asses and fake tits? And so just even that.
Not the girl fans.
Yeah, but how many girl fans are there in rap?
You don't think the girls are supporting Cardi and Meg? Who's at the shows?
No, they are. That's
my point.
But I feel like girl rap fans like girl rappers, and male rap fans don't like girl rappers. 99% of the time.
I have a friend of mine who like gets embarrassed that he wants to put on fucking Cardi in the car. I'm like, bro, you like the shit,
Right. I don't even know if any of the rap guys that I hang out with would even acknowledge that they've ever gone out of their way to listen to Cardi B.
But like some of the shit, like, you know how some music fans act like they need things to be so lyrically inept that like they're just life changing? Like, no, sometimes I want dumb shit.
I don't think it's lyrical. I think it's that they want to hear pain. I think that if Meg Thee Stallion had taken her career in a direction where she was like doing some fucking Jay-Z shit and telling you about how hard her coming up was and how she sold dope and all. I mean, it would be fake for her or whatever, but like it feels like if she had gone in like a little bit more of that like street lane.
Women have to be sexualized in order to break. I'm sorry, but I don't really think that's true. I believe there's those women there, but you almost have to sexualize some shit to be noticed. Like, I just had this conversation with Alex,
Alex Jones?
No, he's a fucking dumb ass.
I like that you hate him.
Like, I hate when stupid people just say stupid shit. Like, I'm sure he's smarter than that, but whatever.
He's out of his fucking mind. He's a psychopath.
A friend of mine, the guy on the studio with, he said to me, like, I must say, like, I got to take back what I said about you. Like, I always said you had to tone yourself down to get more, and you didn't. And I feel like I knew what I was doing this whole time. Like, I'm exactly the Weezy from Horrible Decisions that people think I am. I'm not sexual sometimes. I'm just smarter than that. And I had to use that talk podcast experience to get into one more door, to get into another door, and to get in another door. And I feel like that's what a lot of these female rappers have to do. Granted, I didn't have to show my pussy on Horrible Decisions, but like, maybe Meg don't want to fucking be in fucking panties all the time, but she knows she has to do that to get her fucking album and get bigger and get rich and make music.
Yeah.
And I do think women are leveraging their sexuality to get to where they want to be. I have no problem with saying that, by the way.
That's the funny thing is that women leverage their sexuality to get super popular, but then at the same time, the over-sexualization of them kind of stops a lot of main rap fans from really respecting them or wanting to listen to their content almost because of that.
But I don't think you can get to a superstardom if you're not that girl. Who's a big rap star that's not sexy and hot right now?
For women?
Mm-hmm. That's my point. Like,
Lizzo.
Okay.
But nobody gives a fuck about Lizzo, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm sure
Do
she
you
has a
really
fan base,
think
but
that-
nobody in rap
Do
is
you really
thinking
think that
about Lizzo.
Lizzo isn't sexualizing herself?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, she
Like
is.
maybe
just
she's not
failing.
sexy for like you or Kevin Samuels, but like she's still putting her ass out, and we're obsessed with watching this shit.
My
and
group
whether,
chat had a pretty vigorous debate recently about if Lizzo wasn't famous, if we would actually, like, basically judging her from that perspective. And the conclusion that everybody came to is that she's very pretty in the face.
well, she's pretty,
So that kind of changes things.
and her music is poppy and fun. And
I don't know anything about
and first
Lizzo
of all,
besides
white
that
fat
one
girls
song.
are into what
Who?
Megan Trainor.
Who is that?
What is Megan Trainor's song? I'm all about it. You know that shit.
No, I do not.
Get the fuck out of here, Adam.
You,
Actually,
you
know what?
know
I
way
kinda
more
believe
about
you.
white shit than me, for the record. Probably.
100%.
But in terms of, like, if you know who, like, this pop star woman that you're talking about is, then probably.
I listen to radio shit sometimes. That's why I just
Not
like.
I.
Oh, you hate me now?
No, I just don't know about it. And
It's shit like that, like music in the car, right? But like top 40s, there's some fat white girls that be making it, and I think that like
I know Adele.
right.
She's very talented.
She's very talented. I honestly, hers might supersede her weight. But with Lizzo, I think she makes music like that, and she's fun and different looking, and the flute too.
She plays the flute.
Like those were a lot of her early like viral moments, where like her with the flute and music and rapping, like that shit was crazy to me. Like I've never seen something like that. And I think she just was dynamic in that way to where she was different, and also making people feel really good about their bodies, which is funny because I think who Lizzo empowers the most is probably not even women at her size. It's the girls right in the middle. You know what I mean? They're just like, look, she's proud. Like,
Yeah.
Which also Lizzo has said is very insulting to her. Like, y'all telling me I'm confident is a fucking terrible thing to say.
But, you know, I remember when Lizzo, when I sort of realized, like, oh, the tide is going to turn against her very quickly, was when I saw her by the Lakers game and she's all, like, shaking her ass. I forget what she was wearing. But
Oh, her ass out.
I just saw the comment section just erupt with just pure hatred for her being fat and being out in public, showing off how fat she was, trying to make it sexy. And I was just like, oh, y'all hate her for that. Like, I didn't realize they were going to turn on her that
Bro,
quickly.
people hate fat people. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even know I was able to say fat people until we started interviewing more fat people. And they were like, nah, you can say that shit. Like, people hate fat people. Like, when it comes to jobs, when it comes to anything, like, I'm telling you, there's like, that's the one thing that may be a little colorblind with, except for fat black women. I do believe they're treated the worst. But like fat people treat like shit. They feel like you can't do your job at certain things. You won't be good at this. Like, you're going to get passed up for a lot of shit. So the fact that Lizzo is like showing it off and throwing it in your face, I think is kind of like, I love a good fuck you moment.
Yeah, when people consider someone unattractive, you will see them expressing hatred for that person so far beyond the thing that they actually hate them for. Whereas when you see someone who's really hot and they're getting in trouble for something or being canceled for something, it's like a lot of times kind of muted.
Yeah.
They just don't. But a girl being ugly, people will mercilessly, they'll treat her like she's Adolf Hitler in the flesh. just for like a slight grievance mixed with being ugly.
Because
It's crazy.
it's like people feel like sometimes, how dare you fucking be that bitch and be that confident, which is wild to me. Like, I'm not gonna front. Other people really don't. Don't get me wrong. Even if I've judged someone for their shit, I'm not going as far as to comment about it or making a goddamn segment about it on a podcast. People be wilding how they talk about Lizzo. And honestly, it's in such poor taste, kind of like how I feel about the Kevin Samuels shit, that they go on and on about it. But like with Lizzo, I don't know what makes it so much of a phenomenon for people to watch happen, but I love underdogs and I do like shit like that. And when I watch her give that fuck you, oh my God, it makes me want to pay for her album. And I stream.
Yeah.
Like, I love supporting people that are just really living in their truth. Like, Lizzo's not hurting nobody.
It's funny though, because my viewpoint of a lot of these like female rappers that we're talking about, I'm realizing from talking to you, is way less nuanced. Whereas I could give you like a real in-depth breakdown of like the ups and downs of the baby's career or whatever. Whereas with like Meg or Lizzo, it's kind of like I see them come out, I get an idea for what their music is, whatever. Maybe I pay attention when there's a controversy or a new album or whatever. But like I just see the hatred come at them from the No Jumper type fans, the academic type fans, the World Star type fans, which to me, that's basically like what rap music is.
I really appreciate you saying that, because like that fan base, I don't know what age group it is. I don't know who it is or what it is, but like it is weird. Like I recently had a conversation with Mandii on our show about people like saying things to her on her other podcast about like her weight or whatever. And Mandi's not fat. Like Mandi's thick. She's pretty. Like, I don't even get why they be going there with her.
She's lost a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah,
she has.
Yeah.
But like our fans don't do that. But like the other ones do. And it's like, what the fuck is it with men getting so obsessed with like shitting on you? Dudes that we all know would want to fuck her. Like, and I don't want to speak for Mandii in this way, but it's just like, she's my co-host. I see it from my own eyes. And I'm like, God damn, like dudes that could never do that to her in public. It's a weird thing with this internet comment shit. And it's like, they just like to gang up together. And then they like to get better comments than the other one. Now they're doing it for comment likes. People with no pictures. Like, I don't understand this shit at all. And I don't know if it's because my brain likes to make money, but this feels like poor shit. I swear to God, Adam, I don't know who does this shit. I would literally stop fucking somebody if I knew they were doing comments like this. It is wild to me. Like the biggest fucking dick in the world. I'd be like, you were on there calling Lizzo fat? Like, nigga, what else have you done today?
Right.
It's so dumb to me.
Yeah.
But somehow they pay your bills.
I see it coming out of the woodwork too, where like, especially when we had my kid, that it's like, whoa, there's a million fake accounts that want to tell me that my girl and I should not have had a kid because we are porn stars. And it's like, I didn't, like, people really make fake accounts to let you know. Like, I was pretty shocked by that.
It's like you ain't about to find the bitch that left it on her regular page anyway.
Right.
So why do they do that? Honestly, you know, Lena doesn't follow a lot of people, and I follow her Lena the Mom page, and like, and I'm getting to that age where I think about children. I like following women and seeing their evolution. Sham Booty is one. Like, you know, she's someone I admire in that work, like much like, you know, your fiance. And I was having a hard time looking at some of her comments, like to where I remember last year when she was pregnant, or maybe it was a year and a half ago, I don't know. COVID makes my mind weird. But I was like, fuck, dude, like, what are they going to say to me? Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's intense. I don't even know if you can enjoy a pregnancy like that. So like, it does make me feel good to leave comments and do nice shit because it matters. You don't see as many of those.
But you kind of realize like the kind of things that people probably say behind closed doors that they don't have the guts to say in real life. Because like one of the main things that I have to ban people from saying that to me is like, oh wow, I never would have even thought that anyone would say that, is like, your kid is going to get older and she's going to kill herself because of her
Are you
parents.
serious?
Yeah, like all the time.
Oh my God.
And you block them, but it's like, damn, like there's a significant percentage of people who like want to say that and want to see maybe they really think it, maybe they just want to see the reaction, but like
I think it's reaction.
it kind of like exposes like an uglier side of what people are capable of that you wouldn't really know of if everybody was just using their real accounts.
Also, there is a lot of jealousy in the fact that we're watching a girl fuck her boyfriend for years and get rich.
Yeah, there's a lot of people working at Walgreens who are pretty upset about the idea of a girl becoming a millionaire off OnlyFans.
Oh my God. Not to mention you're going to be pregnant and we still going to pay for this shit? Like, fuck you. Like, no one likes that at all. Like, no one wants to watch you do something so simple and get rich off of it when they feel like they're doing something morally right. Which is dumb. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I made the joke about OnlyFans. There's no way I could ever. I can't handle what somebody would say about me. Like, I'm very emotional in that way. And I unfortunately have some of those misogynistic tendencies where I give a fuck what, you know, maybe the man thinks of me, or like it was very important for me to do certain things above horrible. That came after it when I said above, just because I wanted people to understand I'm better than just the sucking dick talk. When really I know what her and I did by branching into that many streams of income is fucking amazing. But there's still something in my brain that thinks that. And I think with OnlyFans girls, it's really sad. When I interviewed B Nasty and she was telling me how much she pays in taxes, I don't know if her and Lena are in the same ballpark, but top 1%, right? I was like, God damn, and you still got people talking to you like this? Like, when you could buy someone's fucking life from just showing your pussy? That's it. Like, it's wild.
But I think even they would probably acknowledge that that is part of why they don't like them. It's because they're making an absurd amount of money, and like the economy has kind of been twisted to the point where it's, you know, women are able to make this like absolutely absurd amount of money compared to other work that people consider more valuable. I don't even think a lot of those trolls would deny that that's a big part of why they have a problem with these.
I mean,
girls,
and that's the thing. It's not your kid. It's them being so jealous that we're watching this happy fucking family, things that we don't have, a beautiful home, and, you know, popularity a lot of people want, right? Like, both of you have it. That's something that, like, people are jealous of. And like, oh, and you got it from fucking fuck you. Like,
When I was talking to those fresh and fit dudes, they were talking about like basically, you know, 'cause they do a lot of like sort of counseling or advising to dudes, like to help them with their, you know, girl getting aims. And they were like listing off, I think there was 5 things. And it was like, you know, it was like, you got to get your money right. You got to get your social media right. You got to get your fitness right. And I was kind of, and then like, but they were basically acknowledging that none of that shit matters if you have clout. And I was like, really? Like, you really think that? And they're like, yes. And these guys spend like a lot of time like invested in like what works dating wise. And they were like, a blue check is bigger than all those things. A blue check is bigger than having $1 million in the bank.
I don't believe that for quality. And I tell you why. Like
quality, okay. They don't seem too concerned with that. Or maybe they are. But.
Like, you know, the type of girls like you could fuck with off of a blue check. And I'm not saying anything lesser than, but like if they're excited about it, cool. They might be just as beautiful, but like they may not have something that may be more sustainable. I fuck with mad beautiful women. When I say fuck with, I mean like friendships or platonic or whatever. And the ones that have a lot of their own shit, they talk like that. They're like, what the fuck I look like fucking with this dude? Like, bitch, look at what I got going on. Like, but now you start getting in your head about it. Like, it hit me for the first time, like, a few months ago when I went out with a guy from Mariah that didn't tell me he knew who I was. And I was like, oh, he started talking about the Joe Budden podcast. And at the time, maybe Rory or Mal was on my pod that week. I was like, so you know what the fuck is going on. You're seeing the social media. Like, if you're really invested in them weekly, like, you know, it's a small podcast world. You may not listen to Horrible Decisions, but you didn't need to hear me for 30 minutes tell you about my work. Right. Because you knew. And that, to me, I was like, I can't fuck with a dude like this. Like, you know, that's, to me, very strange. Like, I want to make sure that people that I'm seeing, and the same with women, like, are at a certain caliber of respect, understanding your work, not trying to be weird about it. Like, it's just weird. You know what I'm saying? And I think, like, that dude may not have even been into me. It might have just been being able to fuck a podcast bitch. And what the fuck is a podcast bitch? It's weird. Like,
and why did you put all this effort and time into becoming a podcast bitch, a famous podcast bitch, if you weren't going to also sort of like accept that that is who you are?
I think that like I wanted to leverage it into more. And when the only reason I quit my job, and I would think Mandii the same, is because we saw the trajectory of how fast it was growing. Right. Yes, I was making a decent amount of money. Like, for me, it was like, okay, $250,000 is where I'm going to stay. This is fucking amazing. I'm going to be able to get right there when I'm 30, and I can stay right there. Now, Horrible Decisions wasn't making that much when I quit my job, for me, I mean solo, but I was seeing how fast it was happening. And if I kept putting effort into the 9 to 5, I was going to lose that momentum. So I put effort into becoming a podcast bitch because I knew that entertainment broke into so many realms. It wasn't just talk and ads. You and I both know ads ain't everything. It's the other shit. And that was really the effort into it. I just wanted to make sure that, like, later when meeting and dating and doing shit like that, that it wasn't for just the podcast thing. I think that clout shit is dumb, and it does speak to the quality of friendships and relationships I'll end up having if that's the only reason. Right. You know what I mean? Like, quality people understand, to me, who they should be aligning themselves with and for what reasons, not just because someone may have some popularity.
I know from my experience that dudes will want to and try to fuck a girl for even the slightest degree of notoriety or being well known.
Yeah. I'm not even there, bro.
These dudes love to fuck porn stars just to say that they fucked a porn star.
I'm one of the same dudes. I've had men famous as fuck just around in a circle with them out somewhere that will, like, know I have a sex podcast, be like, you know who I fucked? They can't wait to tell me. Like, I give a fuck, bro. Showing me pictures of girls, like, dudes that are like the biggest. And when we shut these cameras off, because I'm not Selena, I would be willing to tell you, because it's blown my mind at how these dudes act like that. And I don't get it.
Yeah, I've definitely had dudes who are like very successful, very well known. And then when they finally get a chance to talk to me privately, they basically are like, yo, you got to hook me up with some of them porn star girls. And I'm like, you need me to hook you up? Like, you don't think that she would fucking respond to your DM or whatever? And like, I mean, that always surprises me, because then they'll like want to ask me questions about fucking these girls. I'm like, you realize that we shot porn together. It's not like I fucking wined it and dined her and like,
wined it and dined her.
You know, it's just, it's a very different thing me fucking a
There's
girl
there's
now.
one thing that someone said to me that I remember, because I was like, you could fuck any girl you want. Why, or have any girl you want. Why do you like, or why do you have a porn star obsession? And he was like, because I got to see it and now I get to fuck her. I got to see everything she did. Like, he's like, sometimes when I'm going out with a regular girl, I don't know if it's gonna be good. I don't know if she looks like naked. He was like, now like what I jerk off to, I get to have it. And I don't know if that's the same reason for all of them, because I do believe men like to fuck girls that other men fucked. But when you told that to me, I was like, that to me makes more sense than anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
The early days of me first fucking porn stars, I definitely thought I was really cool. And it doesn't, now I love porn stars and stuff, but it definitely doesn't sound like an ego boost, like, because it's fucking, it's not acting, but it's basically
no, I mean,
acting.
the porn stars are very performative. Like, I've watched some behind the scenes
You
porn.
can learn a lot from them.
Me?
Not you, but women in general, I think.
Yeah, like, I believe I learned how to eat pussy from porn. Not sucking dick, because I think I was born to do it. But
Do you look up, though? It's all about the eyeballs.
absolutely, yo. Like, I also
okay.
have no shame in like my face during it anymore. Like, I realize like that's part of the sexiness of it. But eating pussy specifically, pussy is so different. You can do a lot of the same type of things to a dick and you'll be all right. Maybe you don't know this, but it's kind of true. With eating pussy, it varies. It really varies from women, the ways that you can touch them, how much softer you need to be, like the ways that you're licking them, ways you put your mouth, sucking, all kinds of shit. Even being turned off by not doing the same kind of rhythm, just like doing the licky thing. Like, there's a lot. And porn has taught me that 100%. And I encourage and implore all men and women that eat pussy to watch a fucking video on it.
I've been watching porn all these years. I don't think I ever watched anybody eat pussy, but
Yeah, like, we don't.
it's a cool idea.
You never see people eating
I
pussy.
skipped that part.
Why?
Because what the fuck do I... That's weird. That's gay.
You don't even like watching women eat each other's pussies?
No.
In porn?
No.
Really?
No, and you full penetration.
Do you enjoy eating pussy?
Yeah.
But is it only
I don't do it enough.
But is it only Lena's pussy?
Yeah.
You only enjoy eating her pussy.
Oh, I guess I've eaten out a few girls with her over the years, yeah.
But for the most part, it's really just hers. Then you don't really like it. You do it.
To
because,
me, that's an
you do
act-
it because you enjoy watching someone you care about get off.
It's an act of love, or I'll do it for porn.
Yeah, so you don't really like it like that.
Maybe you're right. I don't know.
There's no way. You'd be eating everybody. I know men that love to eat pussy. They don't give up. They'll jerk off and eat pussy, and it's fucking hot.
Yeah, because before I was in this relationship, when I was fucking random girls, was I eating their vagina? Not unless I was really drunk.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, if it gets you hard and it gets you off, like for me, when I think about it, sometimes it's taste or it's the way women react or like it's all of those things in my head. If you're not thinking like
Well,
that,
there's like a 90% chance that her pussy's going to smell bad too, so.
a 90% chance?
Well, if like you're out at the bar and you meet somebody and you bring them home, I'm sorry, you've been standing out sweating all night.
Oh, I love a good cleanup. And I offer it to them
good
like,
cleanup.
there's a hand towel in there and vaginal wash.
That's an advanced style of woman right there, for sure.
Bro, are you kidding me? You telling me bitches don't do the hoe bath in your house?
I mean, previously,
I will come out smelling just like your Dial soap if that's all you got. I don't give a fuck. Palm olive.
Dial soap.
I swear to God, if all I have is access to one little bathroom, and let's just say the guy doesn't have good products, because look, I love it ASAP. But if you ain't got it, I'm going to use what I can. I'm going to smell just like that shit.
wow, respect, yeah. I never even thought about that. I feel like most of the girls that I was bringing home from the bar back in the day didn't even, like, they probably hadn't even showered that day. Never mind going and freshening up again
What
in the
kind of
bathroom.
girls do you fuck, bro?
I feel like you don't understand what going to like white bars full of like BMX riders and skaters and stuff is like.
I do. I live in the
Yeah.
Lower East Side. They got
Oh,
some
yeah,
of those.
yeah.
They do look like they smell too.
Yeah.
But some of those guys look like they could fuck.
A lot of these white Williamsburg girls, they proudly smell like shit.
Isn't that weird to you? Like,
That's my culture.
it was giving Mackle right there, dude. Actually, no. Those are the types that are like so anti-establishment and voting that they ain't choosing a side either way.
Oh, God.
Is this your brand?
No, but I do love these 2020 futuristic rings. You notice how I started creeping on the table before the interview was even done because I wanted to start getting
you
fucked up.
really have been hyping that up. How
Bro,
much do
these are
they
the
pay you, man?
best.
Fuck.
They pay pretty good. Well, actually, no. We do it out of love.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, knock on wood for them to call me.
You want one?
No.
They might.
I told you I like got too crazy on weed when I ate it.
That won't happen to you with these. You'll be driving that Subaru all over the city.
It is
just
a
having great
goddamn
time.
gold Camry.
Right.
Champagne.
Champagne poppy.
It's disgusting.
He's the most amazing person who's never changed their at.
Who?
Drake.
Sorry, say it?
Like, you know how
Because I said champagne?
so many of these rappers early on had like a dumb Instagram name. But then at some point they changed it to the
But you know,
actual rap name.
we like Drake because he corny though. That's part of his appeal. The No Guidance video really taught me that's why we love Drake. He was so fucking cheesy and leans into that cheesy shit and we eat it up. And he don't be trying to act like a fucking gangster. He tells you he rolls with shooters because he's not that nigga. And like, I was a Degrassi fan and I remember when Best I Ever Had came out, I was like, I know that ain't Jimmy. Like, that was literally my words. And I think that is really why Drake goes far, because he's not faking it. Like, being around this person, like seeing videos of him, like, he's super corny, but it's cute.
Would you fuck Drake right now?
Right now, like in this moment?
Yeah.
So like, I feel like, let me say this. I think Drake is such a big superstar, it'd be hard to say no. Like, I've never had sex with somebody like that. And granted, like, I've been around Drake in clubs and at that like Lobos party and like little small settings. I'm like, I wasn't thirsting over Drake. But if Drake started coming at me, I feel like it would be really hard to say no.
Yeah.
Like, how could you say no? Am I gonna slide in these DMs? Am I like fucking posted him with hard eyes? No. But if Drake like wanted to fuck me, I'd probably be like, yeah. I have to be honest. Like, I think that it probably is really hard to turn some shit like that down. Like,
You want to know what the fuck you're missing out on. You know, all these other girls got to do it.
Yeah, and like, I think the other part about it too is like, people are very afraid to say when they're fans of others. And I think that must be a part of it too that's exciting. Like, when you make friends with someone you're a fan of, that's a nice thing, and like you enjoy that. I'm sure you know what I mean, right? Like, I feel the same way, and I don't give a fuck telling people that like I'm a fan of their shit. Like, I think probably that would be the most exciting part about it.
Yeah, you'd never
Like,
get
we
to listen
played
to him the same way after.
My first time ever seeing Drake, nonstop, the song was on, and I was singing it, and like, he walked right up, and immediately like I stopped singing the song, and I was like, am I trying to be too cool for him? And like, it really was like, who the fuck doesn't like Drake, bro? And like, he was even dancing to his own shit, because that's how many hits you have. Like, you can't even help it.
Yeah.
And like, I could only imagine. Plus, I want to see how fucking rich you are. Like, I gotta see that house. It's so gaudy and tacky. I need to see that purple pool. It's so stupid that how much is his bed? How expensive is it?
Oh, it wasn't $100,000 or some shit. I don't know.
I want to lay in that shit. Even if he sends me home, I could take that egg on my face.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Maybe literally.
No.
Brian Pumper. Pow.
I feel like Drake is the one where you got to be like, yeah.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking about earlier that you said is that I think every time I ever had sex with a black woman in my life, I tried a lot harder.
Yeah.
Like, I just had to try to at least.
100% white guys, like, please. They're eating my pussy longer. They gave me sandwiches and shit. I'm telling you, like, they want to make sure, especially because, like, even since Horrible, like, me making white boy jokes, I'm sure they're like, oh, she's about to go on there next week and, like, drag me. But I haven't had terrible. My terrible sex has not been like explicit to one race at all. Like, I do prefer fucking black guys, but I think it's just because I feel more comfortable. Like, even black women, you know what I mean? But like, I do get a white boy craving, but it's like a particular type.
You should fuck Jimmy Smacks.
I don't know who that is. Is he European? Because that's my white boy type.
No, he's like a black, like, Instagram porn star guy who recently got exposed for having some nut sacks in his face.
Why should I fuck him?
I don't know. This would be a good story.
I'm not going to tell it on here.
You could just tell me.
I would be
That'd
so
fine.
scared just from your history of even telling you if that happened. I'd be like, yo.
I'm not exposing anybody. I know all kinds of fucked up shit.
Bro, you be on here every week letting them tell it. You don't be telling them?
No, but I've let Selena air her shit. I got told one time because I shot one thing that I aired out. I wasn't supposed to air out. I shot a porno scene with my girl and another girl, and it was anal, and there was shit flying. And I just talked about it on the podcast like it was whatever. And my girl kind of told me, she's like, yo, like, the other girl didn't say anything, but realistically, like, probably you should not talk about the shit flying everywhere. Like, maybe that's something that
Did you
should
normalize the shit?
No, I was talking about it like it was some freak show shit for sure.
Okay. I had some guys come on my podcast and talk about the most hilarious story about how he pulled his dick out of this girl's ass. He said there was so much shit that they had to like roll up the comforter and throw it out.
Oh my God.
I was like, yo, is this like a diuretic dick? Maybe that's why I had anal, yo.
But you know what?
I won't even fart in front of a guy.
One thing you learn from porn is that nobody should be doing anal all spur of the moment.
Oh, well, one thing you learn from porn, have one gay friend. Like, They watching what they eat for the day, heavy on the fiber. There's days where they can't fuck because they just got to jerk each other off because someone's ass ain't ready. Like, can you imagine if you could only fuck your girl in the ass? How exhausting.
Imagine fucking the homie. How much weirder that would be.
Yeah, that would, I guess.
That's why I'm always so fascinated by gay dudes, because I spend all this time around dudes and never even thought about fucking them.
Yeah, but you ain't gay.
Yeah, but I mean,
which is kind of crazy because there's a scale, right, where we're so like, I hope I'm saying it right, Kingsley scale, but basically like it talks about the heterosexuality and homosexuality and how we like fluctuate. And I do think at some point people, it's like maybe an intrusive thought. Like I feel like it's got to come in there. How would it happen, or what would it be like? Or even when you think about jail, we'd be like,
oh
what,
God,
would I? Could I? Like shit. Like
no, I'm going to jail. It's bad enough. I'm gonna have fucking Boris's shit on my dick. Fuck
no, maybe you just get it sucked. What if you're in there for like 10 years?
Hell no. Oh my God. See, you say something like that to me and it makes me feel so homophobic.
Dude, you're the rapper right now.
I know, exactly.
I'm Adam. Welcome. Look at these tower strips.
Coolest podcast of the world. Get high.
You do get high in here a lot, huh?
Yeah, sometimes.
Is that the LA shit?
Well, I usually don't smoke on the podcast, but I can.
I feel like that's fine. The one thing my studio is lacking. Like Wayno interviewed.
You can't smoke?
Nah. I'm in a building, like office building in Soho. Like there's stylists in there and like accountants and shit. Like, nah, you can't smoke. Plus it's enclosed, no windows.
Did you used to record in the loudspeaker space?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there they have one room that was like a blunt and cig room, which I always thought was amazing. Made some friends sitting in there.
So that entire floor was dedicated to a recording studio. I don't own the floor. When I own the floor, which will happen, may not be that floor, maybe a bigger fucking space. I don't know. But when that shit happens, of course, absolutely. Like you can treat that to your guest. But no, unfortunately, I rent 2 suites. I just expanded to a second one, but like I can't do that there. But when I can, yeah. And loudspeaker, by the way, it's so funny because that studio like had a podcast room, and then right next to it were some rappers. And Flagrant used to record there at the time. Mm-hmm. And Andrew had me in tears one day because these guys were recording so loud and it kept bleeding into his sound. And he goes, dude, someone fucking knock on there and tell them they're never going to make it. Like, I can't, I can't do my job right now. Like, oh, that was the trenches. But shout out to Loudspeaker. They really...
That's how I feel about this fucking motorcycle going by right there that you can hear in the background. And
the second room I just got in New York, it's got more light and it's bigger and brighter, and I had to triple plate the windows to make sure the sound won't get in.
Really?
Yo, like it's expensive to give a good audio experience, but like, yeah, you like really got to put fucking money into it. Temper the glass, like fuck.
We were looking at another spot that we were thinking of moving into, and one of the selling points was they told us that they spent $250,000 soundproofing it, and I was just thinking like, I would never spend $250,000 on anything ever.
That is insane.
I don't give a fuck about the quality of this fucking audio. You guys are all just gonna hear cars in the background before I spend $250,000.
That's insane.
Think about how much more we could have done to insulate this.
I was about to say, and like no shade, this is probably the worst soundproofing shit I've ever seen on them.
I appreciate you saying that because people come in here all the time and are like, "Oh, this is such a nice space.
Your space is gorgeous."
And I'm like, I mean, that's a podcast studio.
No. Your cameras are great. You've got a great screen there. Like you know, you've got your engineer. I see the boards, like the monitors. Like you have that there, but the fucking soundproofing is insane. Like I'm actually shocked at how good these are. Clearly, like condenser mics. I have the same.
I have no idea what they are, but I don't think there's anything that bad about them having to hear like an ambulance outside. To me, that's like kind of adding to the ambiance.
Yeah, I don't think it's really a big deal, especially when you get to have your own space and have people in here. It's better than your house, but like this Amazon shit is kind of wild, bro.
Some guy came into my house the other day. Like my girl's friend came over. Mm-hmm. She's a porn star, and she came over with her new boyfriend, and he asked me, like, I could tell, I could see it in her face that she was like, oh, like this is kind of cringy. Like, I can't believe this guy just said this to Adam. But he goes, well, his first question was, so do you have any interviews coming up? Which I was just like, I'm like, well, I did 10 this week. And he's like, any of them really dope? I'm like, honestly, I can't even remember. Like, I can't even remember who I interviewed this week because I do so fucking many of these things. And then his next question was, you do the interviews here? And I was like, it had to stop myself from saying, yeah, I just let all these rappers come in my crib all the time. Yeah, it's fine.
With me, my fucking daughter. And
yeah, I'm subjecting my child to that. Like, I got all these guys coming in.
People do be doing that shit in their crib. And honestly.
Yeah. In New York, that's like required.
No, it's not.
I mean, it's like, but
you
like,
cannot be a podcast
Okay.
making hundreds of thousands of dollars to when we're making millions and you are not elevating your production. People on fucking YouTube doing makeup got lit shit.
but Joe Budden records his in a fucking apartment building.
But look at Mandi's shit. Her shit looks nice as fuck. That's not in an apartment building. That's a nice fucking studio. Like, his shit should look like that. And I think, what did he upgrade it now? Like, it's important to have your production looking good. I think almost sometimes in the beginning, maybe that was the appeal to it, because it felt like you were looking at friends. But after a while, like, no shade to them. And I love Rory and Mal, but like, it doesn't make fucking sense.
You're really invested in them vanquishing Joe in this beef, huh?
It's not that more than like, I hated what I saw Joe do. I think we all did. Like, it just was so tacky and wrong and in poor taste after years and years to build a brand with people and just do that. Like, Rory and Mal are really good at what they do, but it sucks that it's so overshadowed by the fact that a lot of that support is people hating what he did to them so much that they can't even just be them right now. Like, that is how fucked up that was. And it's funny because I remember like coming in here and thinking like I didn't want to talk about it, but it's hard not to as like someone that has a partner, just thinking about that. Like, I would feel disgusted if Mandii did that to me. I built a brand with this girl. I don't give a fuck how much you hate me. Like, dude, even the Call Her Daddy situation, half of that girl's entire catalog was with Sophia. And you really got up there in your first episode and acted like you did nothing with this bitch. It takes nothing to show humility. And the greatest moguls of our time will appreciate their team. Athletes, musicians, actors. I'm sorry, but like, that was just wrong. And clearly we now see that they really did have value and do have value. And you know, that first episode they did, just talking and having fun, it was so simple. And like, you're like, oh, like, these are just people that like, they are good at what they do. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to be great at whatever they do. And so will Joe. Joe was so entertaining to watch. But to not act like they didn't elevate that podcast is sick to me. And I did not like that. And just as a podcaster, I can't appreciate somebody speaking to somebody's work that way. So like, yes, I've already loved Rory and Mal always. But like, now after just watching someone shit on you or try to, because I really don't think he did a good job at it, but I want them to win. I mean, we all do.
It's a crazy dynamic to just think about hundreds of thousands of listeners shifting between podcasts, because I was watching a clip of Ack where he was saying that when they started Everyday Struggle, that at first it really felt like a majority, maybe 70-80% of the fans were there to see Ack, and then the Joe Budden fan base was maybe a bit smaller of who was coming to Everyday Struggle at that time. But then after Joe left the podcast, the views immediately shrunk by like 80% or 70% or whatever. So a lot of those fans who came to see Ack on Everyday Struggle left with Joe to the Joe Budden podcast. And then with the Rory and Mal thing, you're kind of seeing like another big swing where you're kind of seeing Joe's views dipping, Rory and Mal getting hundreds of thousands on all the shit that they're doing. I mean, it's pretty fucking interesting, because a lot of times I think when you think about these fan bases, you think of them as being so entrenched that they're not likely to leave. And this just shows us that these fan bases are perfectly happy to be mobile between whatever they think is worth supporting at the time.
Well, for Joe, I think his moments are so viral, and we love watching Joe. Like, I don't listen to the Joe Budden podcast, but like, when there's something to see, I'm going to click on it, because like, that person is that entertaining. But we are in the 1% of most listened to podcasts. I think the top 1% is like anything over 10 or 15,000 views. This is such a small demo because that's how many podcasters there are. You can't tell me Rory and Mal ain't shit, bro. And then really, especially the way he was talking about Mal acting like he was some bum ass nigga. Like, Mal is fucking lit. Like, you really gonna try to have us act like he was just like sitting there? Like, that's crazy. And I think that it was so outrageous and just unbelievable that that's really what kind of turned people off. Because I think we've all watched Joe be so big and crazy and liked that, but it was just watching it do it to friends where we all kind of felt that no matter who you are, you kind of felt like, damn. And especially they had long-term listeners. I've been to their shows, man. Like, people go to all of the shows. They love them. And like, you do that to to them it's hard, even if you are the favorite. Like, they'll fucking turn on you. And I really believe you have to show humility, and that really we all need to be brought down to earth and understand that, like, sometimes you aren't anything with your team. Like, I just had this conversation with Charlemagne, and it wasn't in tandem to the Joe Budden conversation at all. It was about how much he appreciated Ange and Envy. And he was like, even when people like will say things like, you know, about me being Charlemagne, blah, 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 he was like, I know what they bring to this. And I believe that Rory and Mal did bring that to that show. I don't have to believe it is true. We're seeing it now. And I'm just happy that they can be in a space where they feel good.
It's crazy because it feels like, you know, I don't think that the Rory and Mal thing is a death blow to the JBP, but it's probably their biggest existential crisis throughout all these years. And it could have been avoided so easily. All Joe had to do was just be nicer and be more transparent about the business.
I 100% agree with you. I think that greediness is really difficult. I think that narcissism is a difficult thing when you feel like you have to grasp it. And obviously that show is so great. As much as I could say I don't like what he's doing, I know that his show was great with Rory and Mal. We all fucking know it. I don't care how much you hate Joe. It's just the truth. Watching them three laughing, they're so funny together. Like, it fucks me up, like, to the point where I can't believe that happened.
Right.
And I also think maybe, I don't know if it was the name change, I don't know what, but like when that Spotify thing happened and they were on a billboard, I saw that billboard for myself. Like, that's so exciting to watch happen for people. Weren't they the first Spotify deal? Podcast deal?
I think so, yeah.
I think
most
so
of
too.
us hadn't really even realized that Spotify was doing podcasts till then.
Even though it was, you know, it's two black guys, it's our culture. And it's exciting to watch happen. A big moment for podcasters. So, like, when I saw that with Rory and Mal, to then just see, like, oh, you like, fuck these niggas? Like, are you serious? Like, that is hard to watch. When you watch something monumental happen like that, it wasn't just you.
Right.
I don't care what the name of the show is.
Were you pushing Mandii to not work with them as a result? How'd that conversation go?
We didn't really have a conversation. Mandii loves Joe. She's a fan of his work, and she likes his brand. And although I'm not a fan, like, I mean, that's just her lane. Mandii is going to make a lot of money at whatever she does. Like, Mandii has a personality that I don't have, with it, vice versa. That's why we work together well. Like, or that's why people are attracted to what we bring. But no, I think Mandii has some of that in her, where she has those hot takes and she doesn't really care what people think of her. And I think that's a lot of what can make Mandii great. I think that's what makes Joe great. I'm not necessarily that person, but no, I think the weirdest thing out of that, though, was people constantly comparing the Charlemagne network for us and her show with that. Like, I honestly think that was a super smart thing to do. I believe I just did that with Charlemagne in Kenya. You get with two black moguls in your space. I don't think Joe is a mogul, and that's no shade to him. I just don't. He's not there yet, but I believe Charlemagne is one, and I think Joe is huge in that space, and Mandii is in that talk space. So that's what you want. Go for that shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't think what she did was crazy. I just think it's unfortunate that that happened with Joe, but I don't think that will have an effect at Mandii at all. Mandi's not stupid, and her talent shouldn't be overshadowed by what the fuck he did being dumb, and I hope she prospers. But I don't think Joe is going to be the biggest thing Mandii does. I think it's a good move. It gets more eyes on her, but, like, there's no fucking way that can be the biggest thing she does in her career.
For sure. My co-host, Little House Phone, DM'd Mandii, and it was being discussed on the podcast, and I was basically like...
Say it. Wait, what?
My co-host, Little House Phone...
Okay, Little House Phone.
It's a human being's name.
No. When you were saying house phone, I was like, you said phone, I was confused. Okay.
The first time people realize that there's a person named Little House Phone, they oftentimes are pretty confused. Yeah. But I think he DM'd Mandii, and then I was on the podcast basically saying you need to watch out because she pegs dudes. And then I think she told me, you know, please don't reduce me to just someone who fucks men in the ass with strap-ons, because she doesn't want to. And I was like, oh, okay, you're more than just a pegger. I got to give you that. Yeah. I
think she's just exhausted with telling the same story.
Yeah, I don't blame her.
I don't either. Like, yes, Mandii has done that, but it's just like, fuck. Like, she even said when we went on the Breakfast Club, like, oh my God, bro, we gotta talk about this shit again. And I don't think she's trying to, like, shy away from it. It's just annoying. Like, the same for me, right? Like, when I just did Wayno's podcast, it was the first interview I ever had where we didn't talk. Someone didn't ask me about sex.
Really?
Now, granted, you and I are a lot more sexual than Wayno is as a person. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's natural to probably bring up, but Wayno doesn't necessarily talk like that. And I thought it was great that this person didn't bring that out of me. And I think like Mandii, especially now doing a podcast with a musician, Bridget, who's a great singer and had that experience. She's like, yeah, like I do other shit. So I could see why she acts like that, but or has that opinion, but it is difficult when like people still ask the same shit over and over.
It's like if you killed someone, everybody's gonna want like every time they talk about the baby, they got to talk about him killing the guy in Walmart. It's hard to do anything much more dramatic than killing someone.
Know.
It's hard to do anything much more dramatic than fucking a man in the ass with a strap on. A man named Lil House Phone.
You know what's funny? Like we both have done this, except Mandii was so much more like badass about it that no one even realizes. And Mandii has the personality like she could fucking do it. Where mine, it's like people thought I wasn't telling the truth.
You do it in a chill way.
No, like I was just like, you know, it wasn't really like for me. I'm just like I get subbed out so easy. Like when I'm into somebody, that like it's hard to be that dominant. With women, no, I could definitely do it. But with men, like I have a certain type of guy I like, so it's hard.
When us heteronormative guys hear about the idea of getting pegged, it's very like, we can't, like everything else leaves our brain. We're just like, we can't wrap our heads around the idea that this is something that could really happen to us. And there's girls who are really trying to do this. Just as men, we find this very shocking, I think.
I mean, I think it's just, I say this analogy all the time. Your masculinity isn't in your asshole, bro. Like there's mad homo thugs that will come fuck this whole place up. You know what I'm saying? But
even if we squash the beef, I ain't shaking your hand. I just randomly saw that DMX video on fucking YouTube, and it is the most homophobic rap song probably ever, but it's so good.
Honestly, like the homophobia in rap, like I feel sometimes bad when I'm saying, was it "Welcome to the Party," the Pop Smoke song, where he like, whether he says the F word or whatever, like sometimes I be feeling, I feel bad, man. Like a lot of this shit I love is homophobic as fuck. Like think about like Jamaican shit, whatever. But I think that I can't police those artists. Like they're not as intelligent as a person as I am.
So did you grow up around a lot of daggering?
Oh my God, dude. I was like on my fucking head top going to fucking Jamaican parties. Like, dude, a Jamaican drug dealer when I was 16, 17, 18 was like, oh my God, I'm going to be a housewife. I thought it was like the hottest fucking thing.
That's honestly what I thought that Joe should have said as his defense when they got at him for humping that girl on Mandi's podcast. He should have said that he was daggering.
I'll be honest with you. I can't even, I feel like out of respect for Mandii, I can't talk about it, but I think what he did was wrong. I think everybody knows it was wrong. I just like, I don't think she deserved that. I also think it was embarrassing for her. You know what I mean? Like,
but if it was just daggering, then he could have just been showing love to.
But it wasn't, because she was already clearly showing that she didn't want any kind of like interaction like that.
But
you know
people
what I mean?
get daggered on who don't want to.
She didn't get fucking daggered. The girl got grabbed. He pressed up on her, and it was weird. It was weirdo shit.
That was a little weird, yeah.
Like it would be weird if anyone did it. It was weird, and I hate that. Like
sometimes Laura hugs me, and I'm like, oh my God, is this allowed?
Or, I mean, is she? I
No,
can't even make a
no
joke
hip
of it because it was
motion.
gross. But I do feel bad, you know, like obviously to watch that happen to, you know, a girl on screen. We all can like replay the moment, and she got a kid. Like it's terrible, and it was also really hard because so much podcast drama is happening at that one point in time, and a lot of me has not wanted to talk about it because I really want to keep Mandii and my relationship good, but. Even with the Rory and Mal shit, like, it's like, okay, well, if I say that I love them, are people going to then flood Mandi's mentions and say this is a fuck Joe thing or whatever? And it's like, honestly, I've just really tried to put myself in this box of like, I have to keep my relationship with her good, stand up for what's right. And if I'm a fan of somebody that doesn't like someone she used to work with, like, fuck it. As long as I'm not saying fuck Mandii, that's all I care about. You know what I mean?
That's real.
Because we have to keep some respect there and like make sure that, you know, as far as our brand and what's keeping us happy, I got to get in the fucking studio with this bitch on Sunday. I can't be like talking crazy about somebody she works with to the point where it's going to make her uncomfortable. But it's also very difficult when you see a situation like that happen to not say anything. Like it was weird. It was weird for me to watch.
Yeah.
All of us to watch. You know what I mean?
I actually honestly think it's kind of amazing how Joe was surrounded through so much other controversy that he kind of just skated past a lot of that, where it feels like it would have been a bigger deal if he wasn't already surrounded by a lot of other controversy.
I don't think he skated past that. I think people are being very hard on him. I don't know. And it also could be because everyone is so angry about what they saw happen. And I understand he's apologized for it. But, you know, what we learned through Rory and Mal, like, one thing I will say is I don't think they sound like they were lying at all. You know what I mean? Like, it was very plain. It was very simple. There was no going around about it. It was very simple. And I believe they're not showy people like that. So to get on there and give your fans the truth is something that we should all deem commendable.
Like, I remember Rory saying basically that, like, if the Joe Budden podcast ended, that he didn't have any plans on starting his own podcast after that, which I believe that at that time he probably felt that way. That he wasn't really, like, looking past the JBP.
I believe that Rory and Mal are making content right now.
Right.
There's no, like... I really can't speak for them in that regard. I know some of it they've filmed at my studio, but even then, they even said at the end of it was... like, this isn't really our podcast. Like, they're just, like, imagine you're doing this job for years. You're gonna miss it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think they're just putting shit out and having a good time with it and, like, making money on their shit. They should be doing that, man. They are known for that. They'd be crazy not to make money like this. And people want to hear from them. They miss them. I feel like we all miss that part of their clips or whatever it is. So, like, they should be making bread on that. That's what they should be doing. That makes sense. That's what I want. I'm glad Sophia fucking did with her shit. Like, when you leave a situation, like, we still want you back. You still got fans. Like, and I think it's great that they're not abandoning them. And, you know, whether Joe is reinventing his shit with new people and finding his new wave, like, everybody's going to keep making money at the end of the day. Will his show be as big without Rory and Mal or bigger? Who fucking knows? But I do think it is funny how people were shitting on them so much. Like, it was crazy to me that, like, to even think I really didn't believe it. I thought it was unfathomable that they couldn't be big without him. And I really hated it. Were you one of those people? Did you think they wouldn't do well?
I guess I'm surprised by how well it's doing, but I definitely thought that it would do well. I think that's one thing about the internet is that the internet really loves the underdog. And at that moment, it really felt like, oh, Joe is the rich, fucking unrelatable celebrity. And that Rory and Mal are a lot more like their average fan.
Rory and Mal got money, though, bro.
Oh, I believe that, too.
And second to that, I will say, like, I think underdog diminishes their fame as individuals, too. Because it might seem like that because Joe is trying to, like, be on this thing when he was speaking to them that way. But, like, nah, bro. Like, people are fucking fans of them. I think I didn't even understand the magnitude of their fandom until a show. I was like, holy shit. Mandii and I have never not sold out a live show the first 2 tours, right? WME started having us play huge rooms. But, like, that fandom, Mal was 100% right. It is not just him. I've seen it from my own eyes. And I tweeted and people were saying I was full of shit. I saw people cry at a show, men. Like, people are very affected by podcasters. They love them. They fall in love with you. They're committing time to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like that for Jesus and Meryl. Like, they got me out of a depression.
Really?
Like, oh my God, listening to people that can, like, take your mind off things, this is real work. That's why Mandii and I have had to be careful when we may feel tense about something, because you know you're putting that shit on other people. Like, people listen to you for education or entertainment. And even if it's both of them, whatever, like, you got to make sure you're bringing light to a show. And I think that Rory and Mal are going to continue doing that. And that's why people fuck with them. I think it is that same thing I'm seeing from Wayno. Like, Wayno has a lot of light. People like watching that. They get excited by that. You know what I'm saying? When people are happy, like, it makes you feel good. Yeah.
And I mean, just at the end of the day, Rory and Mal are closer to being where their average fan is at. They're just, like, more normal guys in comparison to Joe. And Joe, like, it's like it would be silly for him to hide the fact that he's been a celebrity for decades now. But that, in a lot of ways, is the thing that's going to kind of keep your fan base from necessarily siding with you. It's like I think that they're just easy to root for. It's easy to root for Rory and Mal because they really just seem more like normal, good guys throughout all this. Like, for me personally, my weekly podcast, No Jumper Show, that we do every Tuesday at 6 p.m. I don't know if you seriously could be watching this and not know that yet, but, like, that was 100% influenced by Joe and them. Like, I just saw what they were building. I'm like, it's dope. I'm doing these interviews, but the views are, like, all over the place. Sometimes they're really high, sometimes they're really low. I want to build something that's weekly and that lets me just have, like, a couple of my friends and we can just have good conversations and to really build something that's more sustainable in that way. And yeah, that was what kind of hurt about seeing them all break up. It was like, you know, like, I was inspired by that. I took a lot from that. And then to see that, you know, it could all just fall apart. If anything, it made me really, really not want to take the relationship that I do have with my co-hosts
For granted.
Yeah, because I just sort of realized like how easily it could all fall apart too, you know.
I was feeling a lot for Mandii at that time, and honestly, like, we're not at a place where we would talk about it together, but I remember feeling really grateful for her in that moment, and for having a co-host that had a business mind like she did. And that's not saying anything to Rory or Mal, more so that you know, I believe she's maybe better in business than the person that was managing their money, or not managing their money, but like better than Joe. You know what I'm saying? Like, we both really understand what we have to do to keep sane in that part. Just working on the personal, it's crazy that that's almost harder than the business part, but like that shit is on lock. And I think even beyond that, I've wondered too, like when I watched that thing you're saying about that celebrity, that Rory and Mal, like, they seem normal guys, because they're not, dude. Like, they're not normal guys because they're so big now, but they are for some reason. And I think podcasters that aren't celebrities first, we love that shit. Like, it, to me, yes, you are now. People are gonna ask for pictures with you now, but it's because you have a podcast. That shit is fucking crazy. Like,
rap fame is a little different. Like, Joe got used to being famous as a rapper, and people just treat you differently in that way, and they still do.
but it's nice to listen to podcasters that are normal people. Like, I've been out, and I don't know if this ever happened to you. Someone's taking a picture with me, and someone else will be like, what do you do?
Yeah.
And when you say a podcast, you're like, okay, that's it. But this is a real thing. People love knowing that normal people make podcasts. Like, I think it makes way more sense that two girls could talk about sex and pop off, or two guys could talk about hip hop and pop off, than us watching a rapper do it or a porn star do it. It's like, oh, you're like me. That relatability. And Mandii, I remember, said on a few episodes of ours, like, when we quit our jobs, because our show was based on corporate women talking about sex. She was like, well, what the fuck now? Like, are we like will they still connect with us? And fortunately for us, which is the same that's happening with Rory and Mal, people know that they're a part of your climb, and they like watching that ascend. And I think it's just showing that gratitude and humility and understanding you have fans, and talking to them and treating them well is important. It's very big. You can't shit on the people that are clicking. People will hate watch you, but I don't believe it'll give you longevity. And of course, I'm not as big as Joe Budden or a lot of the podcasters we've spoke about, but I at least know in my taste what I like seeing from people as a viewer. That's why Deezus and Mero to me are so fucking, I talk about them so much because I'm so in awe of their brand. Like, I don't know if you played me an episode from them last week to 5 years ago, like, it might sound the same. Like, even them having more money now is funny the way they talk about how shit's expensive.
I mean, honestly, I've never seen their shit.
What?
I saw them diss academics one time. That was it.
Oh, did they? I've seen them.
Yeah, on
their
their
most
show.
viral clip was them with Envy. Their show, their podcast, they're just good at what they do, and they like really keep that shit up. They keep so fucking grounded. Like, it's crazy to me. I mean, even to be commenting on a fucking Floyd Mayweather fight, like, they're fucking huge. They're on billboards in New York, subway trains, like, they are huge. And we may not all like realize it, because maybe it's not like the Joe Budden like hip hop hot takes every week, but they're fucking big. They got a goddamn Showtime show from a Viceland conference room, like from starting on Uncommon Sense with Charlemagne. Like, you can't tell me that's not aspiring. To me, the Reed and Deezus and Mero are like blueprint. And with, I would say, for my lane, acknowledgement to what Joe Budden has done for the culture with Joe, Rory, and Mal with their podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like, even Mandii and I, when we would go on tour, I remember we were in Houston. We had a show on Friday. Joe Budden's show was on Sunday. I think our tickets even that week, like, girls brought their boyfriends. Like, because they had to be in Houston that week. Like, it was like, it really shifts a lot of things. Podcast culture is huge. Like, when you start joining together, it's very powerful. Yeah. And I really hope, like, you know, there is less beef in it. Because, like, we could all make so much money. Imagine if we did horrible Lana Adam shit, like, once in a blue. Like, you get all of them together. Like, it makes more sense to keep joining and putting the money together. Like the black shit, full circle.
Yeah, black excellence.
Black excellence.
Oh, that's what you guys are, that's your tag?
It was, until one of our fans was like upset that he said it in a chat with us and wanted money off of it.
Are you serious?
Not kidding.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that happened.
These fucking assholes. That's crazy.
I was like, yo, are we gonna get sued? So we just were like, yo, we're not selling the fucking sweatshirt anymore.
You get sued for taking like a common phrase and just putting an extra S in front of the second word?
I think people don't realize how much work goes into brand building. Like, he mentioned to me that he wanted some of the profits. I'm like, bro, we get hired by a merch company that puts money into production, to overhead for the fucking shit, for the shoots, for building the website, for shipment. and you want proceeds from that, I'm getting proceeds from that.
I'll file for copyright, and guess what? You can suck my fucking dick for fucking commenting that. Like, yeah, that's crazy.
I know. But we asked fans, like, what do you want to hear? Like, what would you like on a shirt? Because we want to give you what you like. And then he was like, oh, it's sold out? That was my idea. Like, if he made the graphic, I could understand.
Yeah, okay.
Because that to me, like, I get it.
It's a pun, and not a particularly thoughtful one.
I thought it was good.
It's all right, but I mean, it's just not really like.
I know it's not horrible.
It's hard to wrap my head around somebody like thinking that like they deserve credit for something that,
you do, like, you deserve someone to like mention it or something like that. But like dollars and getting funded for it, like, bro.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, you guys got a real fan base right there. Hopefully, if anybody heard any cool catchphrases in here that you want to suggest for merch, feel free to do so in the comments, and you will not be.
You really can.
You will not get any money for it. Yeah.
I can't believe how easy you went.
Me? Why? I was supposed to ask about crazy shit?
I don't know. Like, I really don't know why I thought you were going to be terrible. I said that to Laura, too. I was like, I might leave if he says some shit.
What? I would love to know what you would think that I would ask about that would be more contentious.
I think probably because a lot of the clips I've seen from you were, like, saying testy things with women. But now that I think about it, like, maybe I don't have that in my past for you to bring up.
I don't think you have the Black China attitude.
No, but it's not even that. Like, she can have that attitude. She's Black China, and if you start asking her shit about like her exes and fucking, like, she's probably annoyed when she's making music.
But if you watch that full Black China thing, I mean, there is no like because I try to start out with some nice, soft, easy questions, and she's
she didn't like
so
you.
not having it from the beginning that like me asking her about the rappers that eventually made her like walk off was like it was already so fucked from the start, and it was all because she didn't want to pee in that bathroom.
It was nasty.
If I had sat down to do this podcast and I had to pee really bad to start it, I would probably be a miserable person as well.
So wait, she held her pee because of it?
I think that was the situation. I tried to tell her to go to McDonald's down the street.
No, you did not tell her to go to McDonald's.
During COVID too, where she probably couldn't even have gone in.
I would have been mad.
The best part about it was how her manager, who seemed maybe manager, bodyguard, seemed like a very like straight up dude, like probably definitely like holds her down in any kind of situation. Like he walked up to me after that, after the show like that, he's like, nice meeting you, man. Appreciate you. Like, gave me a pound, and he was out. Like he seemed so not surprised or fazed by it that I was just.
Do you not think that certain like Blac Chyna is at that level where shit should be ready for her when she walks in the room? You don't agree?
No, yeah, but I mean the bathroom, in my opinion, was really not that
What'd you
dirty.
say?
We were ready. Yeah.
What was wrong with the bathroom? It wasn't nasty?
Everything we were ready.
I didn't think it was that bad. It was maybe. Was
it like it is today?
I think it was probably cleaner than it was today because we didn't go out of our way at all.
Like the seat was up. Like it was a little. It don't look that clean. I mean, I took a tissue and opened the door. I don't
flush after I pee. You think that's crazy?
I know you ain't wash your hands because I listen.
Hell no.
That's not white shit.
Yeah, I don't wash my legs either.
I'm not even kidding, Adam. I had to pee first. You went in.
Oh, right.
And I heard you flush and I heard no water and I was like, ugh.
Yeah. I don't really wash my hands after I pee, and I don't wash my legs.
Really?
You know, I seen like Wayno or somebody talking about that on the timeline, I think, and
not everybody was saying, like, it was like a thing, like
white people don't wash their legs, and I'm like, yeah, all right.
I think Andrew Schultz was like, I just let the water run down.
Yeah, there's soap on my upper body that's gonna drip down.
Which is wild to me because jeans, like sometimes when I'm washing my legs, I'll see the dye from the denim, or like if I'm wearing shorts, like a little bit of dust from the street.
I don't think it's like a tree trunk. It doesn't need to be washed. It just is what it is.
And you have hair, which entraps like germs and smell.
Does it?
Yeah.
I've never had a problem with hair.
I'm saying the hair on your legs, like you've got to. Okay, I feel like you need to wash them.
I feel like my legs are really pasty. I want to go get some sun.
You should. This is LA, hun. I've been noticing, like, since I've been here, like, I've been acting like that a little bit.
Oh, yeah. If you moved out here, you become the worst person.
Yo, like.
New York's the only thing keeping you real.
That's why I got to go back on Sunday, because I already feel it happening, yo. Like, it's bad. Someone asked me, like, if we go out to eat in this place. I was like, really?
Man, I was just watching this hood vlog where this dude goes to El Barrio up in, like, Harlem or whatever. Hopefully I said that with a proper accent. But, like, grimy ass looking projects, and then this dude takes you in like his mom's house or his grandma's house. Holy shit, I totally forgot about that dynamic where you like go to somebody's house in the projects and it's so nice on the inside because they just have this tiny little box and they put a fucking picture on every inch of the wall and the couches
So
look
true.
immaculate, and I was just like, man, that is such like a New York thing. That's so dope.
Dude, my family is from New York. I'm from Florida, but my grandmother, what you're saying about every inch, I'd be like, yo, how many black Jesuses can you have in this motherfucking house? And why is the plastic on the couch if we got to sit on the shit? She had a huge TV in the living room. She's not dead. I don't know why she said she had. But like, there's a huge TV in the living room. And we still got to go watch it in another room. Because this is the sitting area for guests. Because God forbid the people that live in the house or visit or your own fucking family can sit in here.
Right.
And it's not just black shit. This is Latino shit too. I have been in my Dominican friends, my Puerto Rican friends' houses, and I'm just like, bro, like, why can't we be like sitting, eating here? Why is this like, it's wild. Why is our culture like, my white friends never did this shit.
No, I'll dog a couch out.
I bet you will.
Have
You won't
that thing
wash
for
your
a couple
legs.
years. You have a couch for a couple years. You get it dirty as fuck. You move on. You get another couch.
What do you do when you wash a couch? You just spray it down?
I've never washed a couch. I don't know what that would be like, but
Lennon haven't even have it like Stanley steamed or anything. Like,
I mean, I wouldn't know if she did. But we have a cleaning lady, so
come on, upscale.
no. But the cat peed on the couch, and the cleaning lady like went to town on it, and she really got rid of that smell. Like I couldn't believe what a great job she
You
did.
have
on
a
me.
cat?
Yeah, Tony.
Okay.
He's from Brooklyn. He is.
Cats are so filthy to me.
Okay, interview's over. What do you want to promote? Just to give him a reminder.
When does it come out?
Probably a week.
Okay. On Mondays. I
Laura's
do-
like, oh my god, my timestamps, Jesus Christ.
It's 3 hours? This was 3 hours?
Was it really? I never interview
Are
anybody
you
that long.
fucking kidding me?
2 hours, 48 minutes. That's not 3 hours.
Yo, that's wild.
Like
Shit,
Joe,
I'm sorry.
Joe frickin' Rogan in here.
Oh my God. Well, hopefully we get that bag. Sex Cells, my TV show on Fuse. Hopefully you have it. Figure out a way to download it, scam it. Just let me get a season 2. Horrible Decisions every Monday. I have a really fun show called For Fact's Sake on Tuesday. And if you're in New York and you want to make a podcast and you want it to be in 4K and you want to support black shit, or even if you don't want to support black shit and you just really need good quality because it's undeniable, come to WTF Media Studios.
There it is.
Thanks.
Gang. Also, I just want to throw this out there. Have you thought about a rebrand since your name is also the nickname of one of the most popular rappers ever and also one of the most popular producers right now?
Honestly, it's too... Oh, Weezy out of here?
Yeah.
People love saying that to me.
Yeah.
I
Because
would-
I noticed myself saying, and then I'm like, wait, that's Weezy, not her.
It's funny because like my friends that like know Lil Wayne, like they'll make jokes about like when his album came out, like, oh, I remembered him for a moment. Like, I want to, but I feel like it's too late. So like in the credits, like in newspaper articles, I'll just try to put the WTF on it, but I don't really care. It's not like I'm trying to be like crazy famous. I just want to get rich.
Yeah, you're the girl version anyway.
Yeah. I've got a pussy.
Yeah.
And I am asthmatic.
Right.
That's my tagline.
Who do people tell you look like?
When I was younger, Alicia Keys, but that's just because it's like light skinned girl braids. Zoe Kravitz sometimes, but I know that's not true. All these people are hotter than me. And that's probably it.
Okay.
Who do you see?
Nobody. Weezy, No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world. Check us on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, Patreon coming soon. Like, comment, subscribe. Patreon probably live right now. NoJumper.com if you want to support. Friday if you want to donate to get your song heard, etc. Shout out to Laura. Shout out Josh for sticking this one out. Appreciate y'all. Shout out to Horrible Decisions. All that.
Bye.